Hey, everybody on YouTube, what is going on? We are one day away from the weekend, and I'm going to tell you, we got a fucking killer show tonight. I don't usually swear coming into the show, but I love these guys that are coming on. Erica Lukes was supposed to be our original guest. However, due to a family emergency, she couldn't make it. So I called up my buddies Joe and Ben from UFO Garage, two of the realest dudes in ufology, man. They're down in Texas. They're having a good time. And I'm like, guys, you want to bail me out here? They're like, hell yeah, we do. So literally, we've been rocking out to like Pantera, Texas Hippie Coalition, and hell yeah, leading up to the show. And we're fired up. We're rocking. We got the horns up, and I'm ready. All right, let's give a quick rundown before we bring in the guys here. Hey, Mike L. in the gold position. In silver, we got Gorgeous Tammy. In the bronze position, we have Mary Bone. She's a vegetarian, Mary Bone. Peace World, how are you? Gorgeous Larry, nice to see you. William Kidd, welcome to our channel, man. Thanks for coming up and joining us for the first time in the Spaced Out Radio chat room. Worsley, how you doing? Hungry Burrito, good to see you. Hey, Thurston Howell III, how is Lovey doing? Let us know. Dave Drake, good to see you. Chris Jarvis, nice to see you. Dirty Filth, fantastic cartoons once again. Hey, Chuckles, Beehive, how you doing, man? Good to have you here. As we scroll on down, Jack Clark, Howard, nice to see you. The gorgeous and talented Becky Belling is here, everyone. So make sure you say hi to her. Z-Hut, welcome to the show. Steve Stockton, how you doing, man? Good to have you here. Last Day's Sun, thanks for joining us. Marty Burbick, welcome to the show. I am feeling better. You know, we have had 9 hours straight of snowfall right now. 9 hours, and it's not letting up. This is awesome. Alan Young, good to see you. Millennium, nice to have you here, man. Millennium, by the way, will be signing autographs outside the studio after the show. Line up to the right. Solar Warden, good to have you here. Hi, Aiden. Thank you for coming on in again. We appreciate you. Bigfoot Rob, how are you? Bigfoot Rob, by the way, will be signing up for autographs after the show as well. Line up to the left. He does charge $5 for personal appearances, so make sure that you pay up. Simply Coco, you are looking lovely and gorgeous tonight, and I mean that very heavy on the gorgeous part there, and I know you're blushing. You're like, shut up, Dave. Shut the hell up. No, I will not. Absolutely not. Why? Because it's my show, Simply Coco. It's my show. And if I'm going to call you gorgeous, I'm going to tell you damn well you're gorgeous. Yes, I know you're laughing now. I can feel it and I can hear it. I love you, dear. Stuart, good to have you here. Polar Eclipse and Jurassic Joey, thanks for joining us. Gary Voorhees, how you doing, brother? Good to have you here, bud. And, yeah, isn't Gary Voorhees an awesome dude? Gary, we got to come up with, dude? You know what? For our Alien album, we got to come up with a Gary Voorhees song. Just Gary.
Oh my God.
Yes. Gary, the UFO Navy guy. Cedric.
Gary the Explorer.
Exactly. Cedric, how you doing, man? And Big J, good to have you back. What else we got here? Rich Hilke's here, everyone. The Rich Hilke. Joseph D. Pena will persevere. How are you? Yeah. Gorgeous and talented Steph Dickey is back. She's all the way in Florida. She's shining up her Miss Florida crown. And let's see who else we got. The Philip Blair, everyone. The Philip Blair. TJ, how you doing? Welcome to our chat room. I believe this might be your first time here. Brother Eugene in Philly. I love you, man. I love you. One of the best dudes ever. You guys want a good guest? Eugene Braxton.
Cool.
This dude is one of the smartest people I have ever interviewed. Ever. He's brilliant. And he thinks he solved the riddle of death.
Damn.
Yeah, he's honestly, the guy's brilliant. I love the man.
Maybe you can explain sea monkeys to us.
Yes.
We're fascinated.
Exactly. Awesome Annie Svensson is here, everyone. Good to have you here. Michael Estuca, welcome to the show. And Richard Elmore is here. Thank you for joining us. David Paulson, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. This might be your first or second time here. And what else we got here? Brian Smith, welcome. And Gary Vermeer, the Dutchman. He is the owner and creator of Mighty Moose Beard Oil. We'll give you a little demonstration at the first break here on how to use this stuff, but MightyMooseBeard.com. We love Gary the Dutchman. He's not your ordinary Dutchman. He's giving you a deal if you go and type in SOR 2019, and yeah, we're going to get you some of that. All right, we are 10 seconds away. The Super Chat is open. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, thumbs down, and we're going to have an absolute blast tonight. I hope you do too. 5 seconds. Here we go. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including Rockin' Out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Ben and Joe are a growing podcast looking at the lighter side of UFOs and the UAP Phenomena on their budding and quickly growing podcast called UFO Garage. Based out of the Lone Star State of Texas, these two rockin' cowboys take a good look at the strange phenomena from the eyes of curiosity. It's about learning the stories and the experiences from people to really understand the uniqueness of what we know, what we think we know, as well as pushing the imagination to life out of the stars. Then in the bottom of hour number 3, I want to bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Now, before we bring in Joe and Ben, I want to give a shout out to David Politis, and I'm asking all Spaced Out Radio listeners right now to send some love, send some healing and some hope for David Politis and his family. His son, Ben, who played hockey for a lot of years at University of Miami, Ohio. He actually tried out for the San Jose Sharks for a couple years. Ben was, I think, 30 or 31 years old, and he passed away this past weekend. And you all know out there that I suffer from depression and anxiety. I am very, very personalized with mental health. I am someone who is an advocate of talking about it publicly because I do not think we talk about it enough. And unfortunately, the demons of mental health was too big of a fight for Ben, and he decided that it was enough. And David Politis is a friend of this show. He is someone who is I respect and admire as a mentor in this field. I know we've only ever had him on the show once, but the one thing is, whether you played hockey for one game or for 40 years like I have, okay, hockey is a brotherhood. It doesn't matter how far you played, whether you played just minor hockey or men's league, or you played semi-pro college hockey or to the NHL. It is a brotherhood. And when one of us falls, we all have to help pick up. So I am asking you, if you have any sort of mental illness where you are feeling down, you are feeling depressed, you are feeling that the sun no longer shines with you, do yourself a favor. Get help. Get help. Those of us who suffer from depression and anxiety know all too well what it is like to have that black cloud over you all the time, to make you feel like you're worthless, that you do not have value. Well, as a fighter of this disease on a constant basis, I want to tell each and every one of you, you all have value. You all have the ability to win. And that's what we need to do. We all need to win. So God bless you, Ben Politis, on your next journey. And to the Politis family out there, we are all from Spaced Out Radio thinking of you. We're sending you love. We're sending you healing. And we're sending our prayers to you, because mental health is something, especially in men, that we have to start talking about. Men don't like to talk about our feelings. We're strong. We're tough. Well, you know what? Mental health doesn't care. It doesn't care. So if you have mental health issues, get help. It does not show weakness. It shows strength, and it shows courage, and it shows honor, especially to those who love you. We're going to continue on here. Ben and Joe, I hate to start off on that tone, but I wanted to kind of get that message out. But I love you guys, man, and I want to say thank you for joining us on Spaced Out Radio tonight. And, there's a lot of podcasts out there. There really is a lot of podcasts out there. And I'm going to say this, not to sound like a jerk, okay? But 98% of them I do not listen to in our genre, because I don't need a play-by-play of someone saying, well, hold on a second, Mr. or Mrs. Guest. I'm just going to take a sip of my water here. And, oh, hold on. And, oh, that's nice cold water. I put 5 ice cubes in there. But that's what we get. You guys, totally different. Totally different. And you're one of the very few podcasts out there in the UFO field that actually not only makes me think, but makes me laugh as well. So I want to say thank you. And I encourage all of our Spaced Out Radio listeners to actually take the time to check you guys out, because you're the real deal. You guys are a lot of fun. And Joe, by the way, you're the only one of the only guys in this field that I could say has a better beard and way better hair than I do. And that's very rare. But thank you for coming on the show, guys.
Thank you for having us, man. And just I put my hair in braids for you tonight, dude.
Yeah, dude,
Thank
for you.
Just for you.
Thank you,
man. Yeah, man. Thanks for all the kind words, dude. I mean, it's one of those things where me and Ben are just some dudes, man. We don't claim to be, I've said this before, we don't claim to be investigators or researchers or journalists or anything like that, man. And it seems like this field is heavy with people who just want to try and be that, but we don't want to do that, man. We just want to sit back and have good conversation with people. Everybody has a story. And our method is kind of, drinking some beer around a campfire. What kind of cool stuff comes out whenever you sit around a campfire and just drink some beer and have fun with whoever you're hanging out with, man. So that's kind of the vibe we try to try to push, I guess. I mean, it's not even a try thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just kind of our personality. So that's the way it just worked out, man. It's pretty organic, to be honest with you.
We really don't even know how the hell we even got onto this show. Which, man, when we met you last year at Lorian's conference, we were like, oh my, wait, hold on. No, we're talking to Dave Scott. And before we knew it, we were just having a good old time drinking a huge bottle of wine, which we did share. Okay. Yeah, we shared, but
not with me.
It was another beautiful man beard guy then. But dude, yeah, we started this podcast after being in a band together for 10 years. And, me and Joe have been buddies for a really long time. And after we were done with music, we were like, well, what now? And the only thing that we really agreed on was like, well, what else do we do at band practice? We talk about aliens and UFOs and what's going on in the government and conspiracies and theories and Bigfoot and stuff. And that's our bandmates would get pissed off. Hey guys, stop talking. They would have to interrupt us. So it felt kind of natural. And if you go back and listen to pretty much episode 1 through 30, no one was listening to us. We just were like, hey, this is kind of a route for us to just get some stuff off of our chest, which was really fun. And yeah, I guess we caught the ear of some people that also liked our vibe. And yeah, dude, it's been a cool little wave that we've been able to ride. And Yeah, dude. Thanks for having us on tonight, man.
I want to ask you, Joe, as we switch back here between Joe and Ben. You guys, as you guys stated, you're not ufologists, you're not journalists, you're not researchers in the field. You're the prototypical person who has a unique interest in this phenomena because it just sounds really cool to kind of look at, whether the videos are real, whether the videos are fake or whatever. Why did you decide when you guys started this podcast, UFO Garage, that you wanted to focus on UFOs and aliens?
Well, man, it's really something that we've me and Ben have been into it, since we were kids. It's just something we've always been fascinated about. I think I kind of like as a younger kid, I think I had like a deep-seated fear about it, and it kind of turned into a little bit of an obsession, I guess. But like we said, we're not all those ufology things really. We're regular dudes, and I think it's kind of maybe geared towards regular people as well. People have questions and they're interested in it, and I think the more that you can just kind of normalize it. A lot of times what you find in this subject is I'm fascinated by it, so I can sit down and watch a video or listen to a lecture that's extremely boring, right? And I find it interesting, but I think our job kind of is to take that boring information and maybe just lighten it up, make it palatable for the everyday person. I think the people who are either on the fence or just don't have time, they may come across it and be like, oh, that was a pretty interesting. It was a little entertaining, and now I'm thinking. So that's kind of what it's all about, honestly.
When you guys decided to set this up and you're like, hey, we're going to talk UFOs, how do you even get started on that?
Man, I think we actually started by making fun of it.
Yeah.
Honestly.
We honestly did. But like not in a hateful way. We were just like, why? Okay, we were trying to justify why we were so interested and why our girlfriends / wives at the time weren't totally on board with us being interested in it. I mean, I'm saying that in a way that they're very supportive, but kind of looking at it through a lens of someone who is not interested, looking at it from the outside in. And I'm sure a lot of your listeners can relate to that. Their significant others, or maybe their friends or their coworkers, kind of if that secret, which is so dumb, that secret. I mean, I think it's kind of normal now, but even a year ago, it was kind of something that you really didn't want to tell anybody that you were interested in because of that stigma. But that's one of the reasons why I wanted to start it is that I was tired of just letting it be me and Joe, because I knew that there was other people out there, and then I knew that there was some specific things that I was interested in that other people could relate to. That that information would come from someone that isn't on Ancient Aliens, like spouting random stuff.
Big giant blocks.
I love David Childress, but I love the way he says giant blocks.
Oh god, yeah.
But like, yeah, that was the reason. Like, we just wanted to have fun with it. Like, no one was having fun with it. Everything was so serious.
Yeah.
Oh, tell me about it. I look at this, and I'll be honest with you. As we do this show throughout the week, I get a little burnt out. If you haven't noticed, I do get burnt out, doing this and having my daytime job. It's like a 16-hour day. And when I knew that we were going to bring you guys on tonight, I'll tell you, I totally relaxed. I totally relaxed, because there is a lot of pressure on shows like this and other people who are doing podcasts and everything to try and be professional, try and be that voice of reason, that voice of knowledge, that voice that people can glue to. And with you guys, honestly, it takes that pressure right off, because it's just like three guys having a fireside chat over a brew about UFOs and aliens. The only thing we have to do is cut out the swear words. You know,
Yeah, sorry, I totally forgot about that.
You messed it up again, dude.
I'm
This
sorry,
is two spaced out radio shows in a
I
row.
didn't hear
messed
this.
it
I
up.
didn't hear the swear.
I don't think I did.
Nobody else did either.
No one
then.
else did.
No, you haven't yet. You haven't yet.
Yeah, man. But yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the biggest things that one of the most surprising things I think to us about this whole thing. We've had some pretty amazing guests on our show, and one thing that's consistent after our show, we always receive some kind of message that says that was the easiest, most laid back, fun show I have ever done. Thank you guys so much. And I feel like, a lot of, we're not in the gotcha industry.
Like, oh yeah, you got that number wrong. No,
yeah,
it was
we're not here to get you, man. We just want to hear your story. So, and yeah, so for me, I think that's been the most surprising thing is just our guests and the just how nice that they have been. And then just, hey, we had a good time with you guys. Very relaxing.
I think there's a few people on YouTube that would disagree, and they're like, "Hey, why don't you guys just like stop joking around and making fart noises?
Yeah.
And, like, let your guests talk." But
No
I don't
more-
know. I disagree, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need a fart noise to break the silence. you
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
a couple wiener jokes every now and then never hurt anybody.
Yeah,
You
man.
know?
But, like, yeah, it's like this subject. It's so sensitive, really, and I feel like if you're talking about it, if you are an experiencer and are talking about it, trying to get this story out because you believe that's kind of like that's your mission. Like that's a very heavy thing, heavy burden to bear. And I think a lot of shows really, the intention is to take it as seriously as possible, and because it in a sense it is serious. And you don't want to like make fun of the situation, but to make light of it, I think a lot of people need, and a lot of experiencers out there are afraid of that pressure of being so dang serious the whole time, man. And if you could just kind of sit back and relax and just tell your story how it is, I feel like you get a lot more information.
Oh, absolutely. And you also hear from like the experiencers themselves, man. A lot of them get sick of that. And they, one thing that I've heard the most is, hey, if you can't laugh and have fun about this, then you're going to just go nuts. Straight out of their mouths themselves. So, made me feel kind of good about it. So we were like, hey, this is an accident. Let's keep going.
But I mean, that's the big thing. You guys hit a real nail on the head there, that everybody, including your listening audience, is so critical about the seriousness that you can't joke about this subject. You're not allowed to have fun with this subject. How have you guys been able to combat that as you guys grow as one of the top-notch UFO podcasts out there?
Man, to be honest with you,
We just take our shirts off.
Yeah, we show our nipples.
Yeah.
And I don't think, honestly, man, we've had to combat it at all. Our listeners have combated it all on their own. I mean, we get a troll on our group page and everybody just ignores it.
Yeah.
Nobody's worried about that. There's just so much overwhelming support for what we do that the couple naysayers and party poopers that come about, it doesn't even matter. We don't even acknowledge it, honestly.
And they do poop.
And they do poop a lot. So we don't, it's not, that's the thing, is that once you have to start battling and fighting something, it becomes work. And I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Well, we got a good little group that is I don't know. It's kind of natural. It's kind of cool to see. We've through osmosis just attracted like-minded folk that don't get offended by stuff that we say and don't get overworked and focusing too much about details. It's
While still being able to hold a decent, serious conversation.
yeah, get the information
Get the
out.
information out.
You can still have fun by learning. You can learn also and have fun with it.
Yep.
See, and let's talk a little bit about guests here. We got about 4 minutes before we have to go to break. At the bottom of the hour, Ben and Joe from UFO Garage are here talking UFOs, and we're talking about podcasting right now. Like, I know for a lot of times, a lot of guests, once they've been on our show, they want to come back because they feel the professionalism, they feel the at ease attitude that we kind of have. It's like a fireside discussion that we try and have to make people feel comfortable and that their time is warranted, because I don't think a lot of people out there in the everyday world realize that time is finite. And when someone gives you their time, that is the most important thing. You could have somebody give you $1,000 cash right now. That's great, but it's only a finite amount of time that you're going to have that money. Okay, but when someone commits to you their time, that's where it gets real, because that's more valuable than anything on this planet. So a lot of people, we try and make sure that we have that going, and you guys are kind of doing the same, because everybody I know who's been on your show, they're like, those dudes are awesome. I was talking to Samantha Mowat about it. She's like, Dave, I had such a blast going on. Thank you for recommending me to go on that show. And I'm like, no, I agree with you. And I told you it was going to be awesome. But how do you bring people at ease, to let them know that, yes, you're different. Yes, your tone is different. The severity of the show is different, but you're appreciative at the same time. How do you do that?
I kind of want to say one thing, and then Joe, think about, because
go for it.
Yeah, dude. Because I just want to say real quick, there is a difference. Like, we don't do it like a lot of people, but Dave, if I can brag on you for a second, man, like, you're so good at asking questions that, man, I would never think of. And I really appreciate that, and I would love to get better at that as a host. And I really don't even see us as hosts.
Do you want to know? Do you want to know the secret to that?
Yes.
I'll let everybody know the secret, and I ask everybody this who asks me that exact same advice.
Yeah.
If we're in a cockpit, okay, you and me are in a cockpit. Who's the pilot and who's the navigator?
Well, pilot's in the front, the navigator's in the back, right?
Okay.
Also, you said cock.
But who is the pilot and who is the navigator?
I would feel like the guest is the pilot, right? Or the navigator is the host.
Exactly.
Because it's like,
because he's gotta figure out which way to go.
Yeah.
Exactly. That is the key. You are one of about 3 people who have answered that question correctly. All right. But this is a good point. Like, if you have a podcast out there on anything, doesn't matter what it is, a lot of people will say, well, I'm the pilot, it's my show. No, you're always the navigator, because you have to direct the pilot on where you want to go. And if you're directing them, you're going to be able to tell them or get the questions in that you want the answers to.
Right. Yeah.
So that is the biggest unkept secret that I have in regards to the show.
I think you can even say that and nobody, like, it's very hard to execute that idea. It sounds simple, but I mean, I think what you're saying is
absolutely
it
right.
Sounds easy, but not like, yeah, I think you do a really good job of it, because it's like, man, you have to worry about like timing because you're live, and me and Joe are like, I don't know. I mean, I'll go to bed at some point.
Yeah.
Oh, trust me, I don't get to bed. I don't get to bed until real late, but you know what? The main thing is we have fun, and I'm having a blast tonight. I hope you guys out there are too, because this is a little bit different than what we're normally doing. We got Ben and Joe from UFO Garage podcast. You're definitely going to want to check them out. They're on every major download section around any platform. They're on YouTube, their website, UFOGaragePodcast.com. And we'll be back with Ben and Joe on Spaced Out Radio. All right, brothers.
Awesome. Hey, Corinth's the booking guy. I did order a pizza, man, and send it to school. So it sounds like I'm listening to Spicoli.
Yes, I love that when you get. I don't know the reference, but I love it.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Hey, Anonymous, we'll get to your question when we come back from break here. So if you, I always like to explain this because we got a lot of new people who've been coming in recently. We are not a podcast or your average show. We're actually a radio show. And so right now we are on commercial for the radio stations. And I know it sucks sometimes because, people just want, well, why are you messing with commercials? Why are you doing that? Well, we have to time everything out to the radio stations. So that's the reason why we're on commercial break. So that's why you get the behind the scenes area here with everything. 1 second. Hi, Jen A. I got your mail today. I got your mail. I'm going to get that made up for you. And hey, Nicola, how are you? John Doe, good to see you. And yeah.
Chuck Bam just said podcast.
Oh, yeah. Well, Chuck also wears a beehive, okay? He thinks it's cool still to wear a beehive.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Like a hairdo, like a 70s hairdo kind of thing?
Hey, there's our man Luis Montez right there, man.
Oh, dude, what's up, dude?
What's up,
He just signed up for our Spaced Out Radio group on Facebook.
Yeah.
He's one of our good friends.
He's a big contributor
Yeah.
to the page for sure.
Lewis, what's up, brother?
Is it Luis or Luis?
I'm sure you could say either. It's one of those depends where you're from.
It's
type
the
things.
Puerto Rican accent. I don't know.
Nice.
He's
It's
Puerto
kind of like
Rican.
how I never know how to say Luis Elizondo or Luis Elizondo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you a question about that. I'm going to
Okay.
ask. I will get to that here momentarily. But Fata Morgana, welcome to the Spaced Out Radio chat room. Thank you for joining us. Nicholas Shaughnessy, welcome to the show. And I guess these are your people tuning on in. Are these your people?
Yeah, there's a few of them.
Yeah, there's a few of our
Nice.
brothers.
Joseph Daniel Pena. What's up, brother? How you doing? Gary Voorhees. What's up, brother?
William,
Yeah.
what's up, brother?
Will, what's up, dude? Yep, that's quite a bit of ours.
Yeah, this is cool. We're not quite at the 1,000 subscriber yet, so we haven't done a YouTube live. So this is like our first time doing we posted on our Facebook group like, hey, jump in the chat.
Yep.
Hang out with us.
That is awesome.
So
That
this
is-
is cool, man.
Yeah, that is awesome. Once you guys get there, it'll be absolutely fantastic.
Hey, we have a lot to thank to you for that, dude. We went from like 380 that one night.
It was 362.
Was it?
To like
Oh
4,
my
yeah. I think
God.
we're at 418. We're
That's
we're
so
2 away from 420.
Yeah.
Let's
Dude,
get it.
that was so dope.
Oh, my buddy Joe is stirring up crap on Twitter right now.
Uh-oh.
I love juice, man. I just love the juice.
OJ Simpson? Is that who you're talking about?
No. It's so much more funny, when you say, instead of saying, give me the drama, give me the juice.
Yeah. give me
What's the juice?
Oh yeah.
We're at 422 now.
Oh,
Hey,
dude, I was gonna
alright.
say whoever's 420, we need to do something funny for them.
Cinema Redeemer small batch. A little
Oh.
CBD gift.
We're bad at mailing things. We still haven't.
Sorry, William.
I'm sorry, Will, dude.
Yeah, we'll send it. I promise. I know it's only been 3 months. You can wait, dude.
Yeah, Will won a contest. Luckily, he's one of our buddies. He's got his own podcast too, called Bob. Band of Bearded Brothers, dude.
Oh,
Bearded
yeah. I
Brothers.
think they just added me on Twitter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to Band of Bearded Brothers and also What If Tomorrow podcast, man. I mean, those are some really awesome dudes.
Nice.
Yeah, get a little circle of peeps that we've been kind of just.
Oh, my
Chat
man
back and forth.
Millennium just hit subscribe to you guys.
Oh, Millennium, what's up?
Awesome.
I shall.
Hell yeah, dude.
Does
That's
my beard qualify to be a guest on Bearded Brothers?
I think it does, man. Yeah.
Yeah, you
yeah.
think?
I
You think?
so.
Yeah, because I use Mighty Moose Beard Oil, everyone. MightyMooseBeard.com. Just a little dab will do ya. Check this shit out. You just put it right there, drop it into your hands like so.
You squirted, dude.
Yeah, I
That
did.
wasn't a drop.
I squirted. And then just massage it in. Gary the Dutchman will give you a good deal especially since all the money is in Canadian dollars. Go to mightymoosebeard.com, use promo code SOR2019. You can even be like Jessica McCreary and rub this beautiful stuff in your hair. Makes your locks
Ooh.
just luscious. Here we go. 5 seconds. mightymoosebeard.com. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate the time. Want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on with UFO Garage. Ben and Joe are here tonight. Nice, chill, relaxed night talking UFOs with a couple of Southern boys from Texas. Where's your cowboy hats?
I'll tell you what, I left it on my horse.
Left it on my horse.
Left it on my horse's behind.
I will tell you, I don't wear a cowboy hat, but I do own one, and that's kind of something that you're supposed to do if you're from here. You own a pair of boots and a cowboy hat. Whether or not you wear them or not, it's up to you. But it's standard that you own a pair of boots and a hat. For sure.
Now, be honest, being rockers that you are, do you put the cowboy boots on the outside of the spandex pants?
Absolutely.
Nice.
And my pants
Of course, because that's what
skin
Lemmy
tight.
did. So I do what Lemmy does.
When we played shows, my pants were as tight as Elmer's glue, my friend.
There's actually a place here in Austin that did a custom pair of boots for Lemmy from Motorhead. For all of you listening who didn't know who Lemmy was.
Was it Alan's?
Yeah, I'm not sure which boot place it was,
okay,
but
alright.
yeah.
Well, you know what? Let's continue on with the UFO talk,
I'm down.
because I do not have a hubcap right now to make a belt buckle out of. So, yeah, I'm just gonna say that I don't know.
Why is it so small, Dave? Okay.
The big ones are from bull riding, though. You got to win those in like championships if you want a big real one. We can tell the difference too.
Yeah.
What?
My dad speechless. My dad's best friend, Bill Wildman. His name was Cowboy Bill. He had a belt buckle as big as his doorknob, and each time he tried to open up the door to his house, it would hit the doorknob, and that's how his wife would know that he got home late.
Yeah.
Gee whiz.
From the bar. Yeah.
Here we just want to make sure that it snows enough to cover up the footprints when you're sneaking back on in.
Yeah.
Sneaking back on in. All right, let's continue on with the UFO talk. I'm going to ask you, you guys have interviewed a lot of cool people, people that you never thought you would have a chance to interview in this field before. How have you guys matured from when you first started to the people you're interviewing now? Because you've had some pretty big names on your show.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, we actually just talked about this after our last episode.
It's been a rough week.
I guess the growing of the show, I think it just kind of happens naturally. It started with just me and Ben. We talked about what we knew, aliens, UFOs. There was a lot of goofy stuff in it, and then then we started having guests on that had stories to tell, and so. I don't think it's so much that it's like it's changed. It's just that it's grown. Like when I say that the podcast is pretty organic, dude, I really mean that. I mean, we don't have a game plan. We don't worry about, all kinds of stuff. We just kind of come in the room and what happens. And I think just by doing it now for some time, we're starting to learn those things like, what kind of questions should you ask? Or, you know what you can kind of feel the vibe up front, really. So you know, I don't think it's something that you know you had to work for. It's just a natural evolution all on its own.
But when you guys are choosing your guests now, how is the UFO community treating you guys?
Pretty good, actually.
Well, I'll say this: the UFO community was such an unclear description. We didn't really know what the UFO community was, and I feel like we still really don't.
Yeah.
But we started this podcast without knowing that there was even a community. Like, we just were interested in UFOs and aliens and all things weird. And we just started this show, and then I think it was like a week after we started, we bought a ticket to UFO Con.
No, it was the UFO Congress International
UFO
out in
Congress.
Arizona.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was our first conference that we ever went to. And so we have all these episodes, which are just me and Joe talking about other people's stories. And if you go back and listen to those early episodes, it's kind of a different format. Like, we don't do that format anymore. We don't really try to tell other people's stories because, I mean, at the time, that's all we had. We were just chatting back and forth, like, dude, this is crazy. Listen to this. But now it's slowly growing into like, oh, if we're interested in a story, we could just have that person on and they can tell it, and then we can ask questions.
Right.
Yeah. So it's been a cool little growing experience. I think anybody who wants to start a podcast, which I highly recommend, if you're interested in something specific, please start a podcast. It's so much fun. But yeah, like I think that's the biggest thing that has changed, and the biggest way we've grown is just having guests and learning how to navigate that. It hasn't always been like super easy, but it has been pretty laid back, just because me and Joe aren't really looking for anything specific. We're just curious about the subject, and we just happen to. I don't know.
It's really like the right people found us. Like,
Yeah.
we just kind of, yeah, it's like,
like Terry Lovelace reached out to us, which is
right.
Yeah. he was
Yeah.
like,
I
"Hey."
mean, we ended up meeting Jim Goodall, and that dude was like, hey, I like your vibe.
You guys are like Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, we just wanted to, I don't know, man. Honestly, I don't have an answer for them, but Ben, you did a beautiful job on answering that.
Out of everybody you've interviewed, is there a story that really sticks with you that you were just like, oh man, I can't believe we just heard that?
Yes.
There's a few that's coming to mind, but there's one in particular for sure.
What's your one?
I mean, Samantha Moa has really changed my perspective 180, probably 720 on a lot of this stuff, because my whole vibe with this podcast, and when I don't really listen as much back to our episodes as closely as I used to. I listened to this specific one with Samantha, and I started realizing, like, I have always had questions, and that's why I love doing the show with you, because I have questions.
Yeah.
And when I asked these questions to Samantha, it just changed my perspective on a lot of stuff. A lot of different, she answered a lot of things that I had questions to previously in a very eloquent way that almost made me like, I don't know, like when you're hungry, you want to be full, right? I feel like I was full for like a week.
Right. Yeah.
Which story was it?
What story? I think it was the story of her encounters of her experiences with the multi-dimensional. Well, I think she says a specific star system, and I don't want to get it wrong, but she had so much knowledge, and there was no, like you and I had said, Dave, like there's no buts or ums or spaces or pauses. It's just information. And Joe and I didn't even realize until after the show. She was like, "Oh yeah, no, I was channeling, for a lot of that stuff." And we're like, "Wait, hold on, what?"
Yeah, we were like, "Well, can we get that guy on the show too?"
But we did. We got the guy. Like, he was on the show.
Yeah.
Or that entity, or that that energy, whatever was communicating with Samantha, was talking to us, dude, which is kind of freaky to think about.
Yeah.
Our first interaction with a hybrid that was uh, in contact with another race, another entity, whether it be dimensionally or physically, was at UFO Con at yeah, Vivian Chavette, and that was like our first little introduction, and then that kind of changed our minds, and then we talked to Samantha, and it's like
Like
blew
there's
my mind,
there's
dude.
definitely something
Imagine,
to that. Yeah.
imagine being me, not to one up you guys, but
Please do.
25 minutes after meeting Samantha, 25 minutes after meeting her, walking into a forest and seeing aliens.
Dude, yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes.
And dude, I want to be 100% honest right here. Because I mean, I even said it, when she was on the show. It was like, there was a lot of things that, you hear all the time, and you're like, that's a little wacky. And then you kind of go in and you listen to some of the stuff, and you're like, okay, I don't really know how I feel about that. But we'll take it, right? And then I hear this story about you and her, and you're like, okay, it doesn't matter what goofy stuff I think is going on here. This one specific experience kind of brings the whole thing in. So now that I know about this, let's unpack this a little bit, right? And it's not so much like, we weren't unpacking like your story, but it's like, okay, let's figure out how her and Dave were able to just walk into a forest after 25 minutes and go see some aliens.
And she pretty much told us, like, ask Dave. So I mean,
Yeah.
this is a perfect segue.
Oh, dude,
Yeah,
it was the craziest of things.
It was cool.
It was the craziest of things when that happened, because it was a beautiful spring afternoon, and we were there 5 days previous to that. On that same property, I witnessed a UFO landing. Okay, which was insane as it was, and so basically it was, here's the house, here's the lady of the house who we don't talk to or talk about anymore. Okay, there's Samantha's there, and Samantha sees me pacing because I haven't slept in 5 days. This is my first day back at the farm in 5 days since the UFO landing. And she goes, just out of the blue, because she's very blunt, she goes, you want to go outside, don't you? Yeah, I do. She goes, do you mind if I come with you? Maybe I could pick up on the energy of the craft. So we walk back in the field, and all 4 dogs walk with us, because I always brought my dogs over there to run around. And we're walking in the backfield, and I'm showing her the neighbor's yard where this UFO was and where it was lighting up. She's picking up the energy. All of a sudden, she just stops. After like 10 minutes, she stops, and she's like, you want to go in the forest? And literally, this is my reaction. Sure. Right? And then she goes, we're going to see something, right? And I knew. And I'm like, I said, what the F? Like, I just saw a UFO land over here 5 days ago. Now why not? She goes, okay, but she goes, and this is where it started to get weird. She goes, I don't know if we're actually going to see anything, because from what I know, aliens don't like dogs. And the dogs are probably going to run into the forest before us. So I said, well, like, we tried to hustle the dogs back, but, dogs being dogs, hey, there's people outside. Let's play around.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the dogs, seeing that we're walking that way, run 30, 40, 50 feet ahead of us. And then eventually they come to, it was really cool, because there's this typical farm fence, and then like feet from the farm fence, there's these like 100-foot evergreen trees, old growth forest, walking into the forest. And so we walk through this, almost like this cathedral of trees. And as we approach the gate to go into the trees, all 4 dogs run into the forest. We get like 50 yards into the forest, and we're talking. I don't even know what the small talk was. And Samantha stops again, and she's looking around all perplexed. And she's like, Dave, where are the dogs?
Whoa.
All 4 dogs, dudes, were gone.
Yeah.
Gone. Like, we're looking all around that they were just there, and now all 4 are gone.
They know that.
So, you know, being typical white people in a horror movie, we keep going. You know,
Absolutely.
everybody else, the Mexicans, the African Americans, the Japanese, you know, the Chinese, they all like, yeah, we're out of here. We're out of here, right? But not us whiteys, right? We're gonna keep on going. So we keep going into the forest. We walk about another 50 yards in, and Samantha deadpan stops me again. Now, this is 2 o'clock in the afternoon. 2 o'clock. And Samantha says, Dave, look at me for a second. And she goes, I don't want you to be afraid, but I want you to look that way. And she points north. And she goes, I want you to tell me what you see. So I go, and I turn, and I look. And for the next 3 to 5 minutes, the only thing that I could say out of my mouth is, Samantha, what the F is that? Samantha, what is that? What is that? Because 200 feet in front of us, I'm looking at a 10 to 12 foot extraterrestrial.
Dude.
Yeah. 25 minutes after meeting her. Now, I always like to say this, and my audience who's heard this before, I'm going to be a little repetitious. I was not scared of the creature. I was scared of the situation because I'm 40 years old and nobody ever taught me what to do when you come face to face with aliens in the middle of the day. Okay? I was brought up, there's a heaven and there's a hell. There's a God, there's a devil. If you're good, you go up. If you're bad, you go down. Don't be a bad guy. But out of all my hockey coaches, baseball coaches, teachers, my parents, my grandparents, my friends, my elders, nobody ever told me, what the heck do you do when you are staring at an alien face to face? So
So it's such a foreign idea.
Yeah. So there were 2 of them there. I only saw the one. I was focused, and like I could feel my heart, you know, and everything. And I'm trying to just take it all in because my mind and my brain is not comprehending what my eyes are seeing. So literally I'm stuck in panic mode. Samantha starts telepathically communicating with the second one that I didn't see. And she goes, Dave, they want us to come over. They say, well, you're more than welcome to come over and say hello. We're not going to harm you. We're not here to take you. However, we're concerned about the man's health. Well, I know Samantha is not the man, and there's only 2 of us here, so that has to be me, right? That has to be me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not going.
Yeah.
And she goes, come on, they're not going to hurt us. Let's go. Let's go. I says, no, I saw fire. I literally said, I saw fire in the sky. I know what happens in this situation. I said, and you're not going. Like I all of a sudden felt like I had to play the man card, as sick as that sounds. Because I'm like, I can't do this. Like, we can't do this. And she's like, well, I'm going. And I literally, I almost started crying. And I'm like, Samantha, honestly, you cannot leave me here alone. I am not going back to the house alone. Because if the police, if they take you and you go and the police are called, I'm suspect number 1.
Yeah, there's another Travis Walton scenario.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Yeah.
So did I feel like what went through your mind as far as like, look,
what the F? That's what went through his mind.
Well, like I feel like at a certain, I know we got maybe 6 minutes, but there has to be a definite answer in your mind that says this is the worst thing that can happen, and then there's the best thing that can happen. And I think the human brain focuses on the worst thing that can happen.
Yeah, to keep you alive
right off the bat, to keep you alive. Right? Like, dude, don't do that. But I wonder if that reaction has been taught, or if that is a natural reaction.
It's a natural reaction of fear, because you're seeing it's kind of like, have you ever been in a car accident that you've seen it happening? Like, like all of a sudden somebody slams on the brakes in front of you, but you see it happening and you're like,
Yeah.
I'm going to hit that person. I can't believe I'm going to hit that person. What do I do? Oh, well, now I think I should probably hit my brakes. Uh-oh, it's too late. Then you, right?
Right.
That's what it's like. It's like watching a train wreck in slow motion, except you're the train wreck,
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
right?
I wonder if it's like okay, so you know how like certain sounds, certain smells, things like that make you like cringe, but that's just like passed on DNA from thousands and thousands of years ago.
Epigenetics.
Yeah, the epigenetics of the whole thing. Like you're supposed to be kind of afraid of this, and like you know that this is okay. It's like a natural born reaction that you have. I wonder if like seeing an ET is part of that epigenetics. Like, what did our ancestors know and see, and why were they scared? And did that get passed down to us? You know, but
As a fear,
also
as a fear.
as a fear that like you're just inherently afraid of. Obviously, it's unknown. Obviously, it's something that like you know, it's like I've never seen that before. I should probably be scared, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's just what happens.
Yeah,
at
but
the same
don't
time-
forget, it's not supposed to exist.
right? Right.
You know,
That too.
it's one thing, guys, for people to see a UFO or claim an ET experience in the
Right.
dreams. Okay, like just a couple of nights ago, I think I was taken. I woke up 2 days ago and my body was killing me. Or was it yesterday?
That's one of the
One of the-
telltale signs. Like
Yeah.
you're sore
Like,
everywhere.
like I could not. It felt like I knew I went to sleep. I knew I slept. But when I woke up, it felt like I hadn't slept, and it was yesterday. I apologize. Thank you, gorgeous Kira, for reminding me.
I
but-
forgive you.
But honestly, it plays with your head when you have that open eye contact. Like I'm staring at all the people in YouTube right now. They're staring at me, and if I go like this, and we're having eye contact. All right, it's like having that same eye contact, in the forest with the creature.
Yeah.
And you don't know what it is. It's not supposed to exist,
Right.
right? It's
like the intention that everyone else looking at you, even though you're not looking at it, it still exists. Like they are paying attention to you, even though you're not looking and paying attention to them. It still exists. That doesn't say that.
yeah.
Doesn't
See,
mean that.
If it happens in a dream, it can always be like, okay, I dreamt that. I had a nightmare. Because I like using the word nightmare and not this new politically correct term, night terrors. Hate that term.
Did George Bush come up with that?
Yeah, I don't know who it is, but I got to say that it's very interesting that looking back on it, if I were to change one scenario in my life, I would want to walk over there.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
would
Man.
it's kind of like the time when I was like 20 years old at a Hooters in Phoenix. And the waitresses invited a bunch of us young Canadians out to the bar, and we didn't go because we were underage and didn't have ID.
Yeah.
It's one of those regrets I will always have.
Yeah.
One of those regrets. But gentlemen, I'm going to get you to hold on here because we are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. Having an absolute blast tonight. Nice, chilled, laid back, relaxed show with Ben and Joe from UFO Garage Podcast. These are two of the coolest dudes and newest dudes in the field, but I'll tell you, they are great guys. You want to go to their YouTube channel. You want to follow them on Twitter and on Facebook, UFO Garage Podcast, their website, UFO Podcast, UFOGaragePodcast.com. Ben and Joe, we're going to continue with the UFO talk right after this on Spaced Out Radio. So stay tuned. We're in for a nice, relaxing night, talking aliens all night long. That's what it's all about, right? Would you go chase down an alien in the forest? You may say yes, but would you really? Think about that during the break. I'm back.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm gonna just run my dogs out.
Cool.
Do me a favor, chat with the audience here on YouTube.
All right. Sounds good. Cool. What's up, everybody? Hey, Joe Dirte. Joe Dirte's in the house. Yeah. What's up, everybody? How y'all doing tonight? Look at this. This is kind of cool, man. Hey, this is the part where Dave leaves and to take out his dogs, and we have to entertain everybody.
Take out his papalinos.
And the Papalino, dude.
Papachinos.
Hey, so we just did an episode, and it was on Bigfoot, and it was pretty cool, man. Y'all go check it out. Actually, you can't check it out because we haven't posted it yet. We did it, and then we hopped right on here. But hey, tomorrow, go check out the episode because it'll be up and good. We had a fun time.
Depends on how much editing I have to do.
Okay, well,
Hopefully,
I tell you what, man. You guys just stay updated.
you
all right?
guys just be cool.
Be cool. Come join the group, and we'll post it to the group. You'll know it's there.
It's a group.
Let's see. The booking guy. What keeps Austin weird? Mostly the hobos.
Yeah. Oh man, weird smells, dude. So I mean, Joe, after playing music with me playing music with you, you know, you're just like, hey, this is my lead singer. Like most bandmates would be like, hey, this is my bass player, but you would always say, this is my singer.
This is my singer.
But like, dude, we would get there at like 9 p.m. and leave at 3:30 in the morning, and we chatted with so many
It's cool people.
cool people, like homeless dudes, like that would come up to us, and we would expect to be kind of, they would say something crazy, but they would teach us the meaning of life.
Yeah, and that's kind of what keeps Austin weird.
Yeah.
Also, man, it's just kind of like a real artsy little place. I think it got the Austin is weird is because it's considered like this little blue dot in a big red state. But I mean, yeah, there is a lot of weird stuff that happens. Like Leslie, there's a man named Leslie who has breasts that used to walk around downtown.
R.I.P. Leslie.
Right, R.I.P. Leslie,
Yeah.
and there was like this really ritzy, upper class neighborhood, and they offered to give him a house. They were like, "Hey, dude, you can have this really awesome like 6-figure, massive house."
Yeah,
And
people
he
just
was
like gave
cool.
him shit.
Yeah, people gave him stuff all the time, man. We had this really cool.
He would ride around on a bicycle with a thong and like a bra on,
Yeah,
and his
yeah.
like stuff would be hanging out. Like, the old dude.
Yeah,
It
man.
was really funny.
I know. I've been to Austin too many. Well, okay. Well, yeah.
We got some
you
San
know.
Antonio. Lived in San Antonio. That's a cool town too.
Yeah, I like
man.
San Antonio, man. It's a
Oh,
really,
yeah.
really big heavy metal scene there.
Yeah. Did we play it at that hamburger place? What was it called?
Oh, I forgot the hamburger place. there,
Burger
dude.
place. I think it was called McDonald's.
Was it McDonald's?
No.
Is that the hamburger place we went to? Oh yeah, we played at McDonald's on the Playscape.
Yeah,
That's right, dude.
No, we just got high and passed out on the playscape.
Oh, William said the cinnamon. Hold on, dude. You're,
Oh,
you're
shit.
skimming too fast. Go
Sorry,
back
sorry,
up.
sorry.
Go back up.
All
Hold
right.
on, let me see.
Take
What did
control.
William say? Let me see. Oh, he
Cool.
said, "Did Cinnamon Terry steal y'all's cowboy hats?"
Bro, Cinnamon
Yes.
Terry, he bought us our cowboy hats, dude.
That's right,
That fool, he owns half of O2, man.
And for those of you guys who don't know who Cinnamon Terry is, Ben,
Dang.
who is Cinnamon Terry, Ben?
Oh, Cinnamon Terry plays the bongos down the 6th string.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cinnamon Terry. You can find a Cinnamon Terry shirt on UFOGaragePodcast.com. Yeah.
That makes sense to literally no one right now. Joe, we were trying to have a Halloween episode last year. You fumbled your words instead of saying cemeteries.
Cinnamon Terry.
So that's
It just kind of became a thing.
yeah. That's the thing.
Bigfoot.
But yeah, Austin, Texas, man. We're hanging out with Joe Rogan and Elon Musk, and it's going to be very expensive to continue to live here. So I might be moving out to
Let's
where
see.
Joe lives.
So ZZ Top was driving through a small Texas town at night and saw a pizza stop with a PIA and S burnt out. That's how they got ZZ Top.
No
funny.
way.
That's funny. I always thought it was because zigzag and tops, like zigzag papers and top papers and tobacco. I always thought that's how they got ZZ Top as the name. But
Damn.
I didn't know that.
This guy's a booking guy, so he
Who
knows
is?
stuff.
Corinth?
Corinth's the booking guy.
He's your guy, right?
That's Corinth, the booking guy.
All right, yeah.
He is a man of big knowledge. Hey, Mike Hawk, how are you? He's from my town. Mike
What's
Hawk.
up, Mike Hawk?
Mike Hawk from my town. Den Pub, how you doing, man? Good to see you. And thank you to Dolly and Gary Voorhees for the awesome super chats. Thank you so much for supporting Spaced Out Radio. It's really cool that you've done that. I really appreciate it. Hey, Nimkish. Hi, Sherry Knight. Mr. Cowley.
Bam, bam, bam.
Welcome back to the show.
Bum, bum, ba-da-da-da.
Oh, Mr. Cowley.
Bam, bam, bam.
Loves his Spaced Out Radio.
Bam, bum,
That's all I got. Hey, Virgil, how you doing? Hey, there's the gorgeous and stunning Heather McIntyre, everyone. Give her a round of applause for being here tonight. And we're going to get going here. Looney, how are you? We're going to get going in like 2 seconds.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Really do appreciate it. Want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Obnubulate. Obnubulate is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We have Ben, we have Joe. UFO Garage podcast is here tonight. We're just having a chill out time talking UFOs. Gentlemen, I would be remiss in asking you about your own UFO experiences. Ben, have you ever had one?
Oh my gosh. Yes. I think I have one. Yeah. I think I have one that I experienced when I was in high school. I remember it so vividly. I was with a couple of buddies, and in our later years, we've talked about it, and at least one of them is like totally dismissed it. And I think I don't know. I personally believe my memory, but my memory is that we were all together. It was me and two buddies looking on YouTube at UFO videos. Like, that's what we did. We were in high school, like nothing to do, and just get on YouTube and look at whatever pops up for Googling UFOs or whatever. So super into it. A lot of my friends kind of knew that we were, joking about it or looking into it or very interested in it. I wasn't taking it super seriously.
Well, what'd you see?
So we saw 5 orange orbs in the sky over the lake. We lived by the lake. We were driving over this dam in Belton, Texas. It's right next to the biggest military installment in Texas. Probably, I think it's the United States is the biggest military base. One of them, Fort Hood. And so I was used to hearing noises and seeing helicopters with no words or prints on them, and I was used to hearing jets. Like, dude, there would be jets flying over at all times in the day and the night with no lights, helicopters, no lights. So I knew what sounded weird and what looked weird and things that I was used to. But this thing, man, there was 5 orbs in the sky, and they were probably maybe 100 feet off of the water. I'm terrible at numbers and estimating, but they weren't emitting any light. It was just like this self-containing orange light source, and there was no corona coming out of it. There was no, yes, by Temple. Yeah, Belt, no, by Temple. There was no reflection, if that makes sense. It looked like it was photoshopped in the sky. And they would blink on and off in the sky. They would like show up and then reappear, and one would reappear, but stationary, but a little higher in the sky later on. They just, it didn't seem like one craft. It seemed like 5 separate crafts. And 20 minutes later, there's like 20 people, maybe 25 people on this lookout spot on the dam, Belton Dam, looking at this event going on. I can't believe that we're the only ones that think that that was something that was not ours. Is it flares? I don't know, man. I've looked at a lot of flare videos. You normally see smoke. You normally see some kind of corona effect where there's a combustible component to flares that's like a kind of a flashing effect. This thing was constant, a very steady light source. Anyway, yeah, so it just kind of floated up there on and off, and then it finally just kind of dissipated and everybody went home. That's like my first interaction.
How about for you, Joe?
So, yeah, sounds a little weird, but probably a month ago, man, I had a pretty serious, kind of the same thing, an orange orb that literally flew over my house. And there's a water tower in town. They had just put a new strobe light up, and I could see it like bouncing off the tree. So I got in my car and I drove down there, and I was like, "Oh yeah, it's a strobe up on the water tower." And I came home, and my wife was standing outside, and she was like, "What was it?" And I was like, "It's just a little strobe on top of the water tower." And then she looks up and says, "Hey, what is that?" And so I look up, and I seen it was, dude, it was the biggest, orangest thing I've ever seen in my life. I live next to an airport, and it's a small airport, so like single prop planes and things like that fly into that airport. It's very low, you can see everything. This thing was like, if I held my hand out and I looked up at my thumb, the orb was a little bit bigger than like my thumbnail, and it looked pretty close. Same thing that Ben kind of described. It didn't like emit any light, man. It was this random orange thing. And I have a satellite tracker on my phone. I track the planes and stuff, just to see what it is. And I'm looking at all these trackers, and nothing. There's nothing. And it still kind of racks my brain whether or not that was a UFO or not. Well, it was, obviously, but whether or not there were some aliens flying in that thing, I have no idea. But I can say that that was the weirdest thing I have ever seen in my entire life. And kind of like Ben, I'm a military brat though, so I lived on Fort Hood. So, same thing. I'm used to helicopters, jets, loud booms, flares, all that stuff. Never seen anything like this in my entire life.
Wow.
So,
how did it affect you?
Dude, I'm kind of still racking my brain on it, honestly. So me and Ben are we're shooting this little documentary, and I don't know if maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know. I don't have any answers, and I think about it every single day. I really do, man. I really think about it because it was one of those things where you see it, you're like, "Holy cow." And you're looking at it for like about a minute, and then it just goes away. Where did it go? Like something that big, that bright, right over your head, like it doesn't like it didn't go over the horizon. It just went away. Like what happened? Where did it go? What was that?
But you can't let it go.
Yeah, I wanted to go see the strobe on the water tower, and this thing showed up. What was that? You know?
Mhm.
So I mean, I really can't tell you, Dave. I really can't. Me and Ben had a little experience out in Sedona that was pretty interesting as well. And Jeez.
I think our early experiences too were like, hey, yeah, this thing's happening. We have to figure out what this is. And it's all kind of leading up to the last like kind of 2 years.
Yeah.
And then the last 2 years, like you're saying, Joe, like that experience at Sedona was kind of the nail in the coffin. Like, yeah,
It
all
was.
right.
It
So
was.
either we've been visited, which we don't really want to admit. I think it's a very scary thing to realize. Like a lot of experiencers say, Dave, I mean, I'm sure you're used to hearing this. Like if you've seen a UFO close enough, you've seen it multiple times, and it's not just a one-time thing.
Yep. You might be part of the tribe now.
You got aliens.
So,
You got aliens.
yeah, man. I mean, and it's one of those things like, me and Ben aren't here to tell you like, oh yeah, we've seen aliens and like we've been abducted and all this stuff, man. Like that has nothing to do with it. It's something that we've been interested in. And holy cow, if within the past year some cool stuff hasn't happened. Yeah. And I hate saying that, honestly, because
Well,
it's like, oh, how convenient.
Let me cut you off there, because a lot of people don't realize this. The more you get involved with this community, the more weird stuff all of a sudden starts to happen. So is that what you're saying is going on now that you've started this podcast?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's happened? What's happened? Give me the woo. I need the woo fix.
I think so. Man. So
We've
okay.
opened up that weird door that's in, like near your attic that's too small for a human to walk through, and you're like, what's in that door? That's the door we've opened.
Yeah, it's a little strange, man. And like I said, like the thing that flew over my house, just the sequence of events that was happening. The guy that we were going to go visit, he lives up in the Arkansas area. But what was strange was we started kind of putting the pieces together. Ben had a strange thing happen to him. The very next day, this strange thing happens to me, and I'm looking at this thing, and it's the flight path of it was from Ben's house over my house, heading directly to the direction that we were going to, in the next day. And it was just,
As we were like planning to go to Arkansas, this was in our mind, in the back of our heads. We're planning to go shoot this documentary.
and the guy who's helping us film, he's not like a UFO or alien guy. Like he's either neither here nor there. Since he started hanging out with us and he's met some of the people that we've been chit chatting with, he's kind of like like, whoa, holy cow, like there's some gravity to this. But before Ben and I had our experience, this guy, there's a Facebook, a neighborhood Facebook thing that goes on, and right over his neighborhood there was strange lights right over his neighborhood. So it happened to him, who has no care about aliens whatsoever.
Yeah.
Then it happened to Ben. Then it happened to me, and then the dude up in Arkansas was like, "Oh yeah, that probably definitely happened to you." So.
You know what? I asked R. Keith Andrews a long time ago. This is going back about 5 years ago now. After I had Carl appear at the window during the show. And I asked him what that was all about. And he as crazy as R. Keith Andrews can be, and you guys got to get him on your show, by the way. You'll love him. You will.
Awesome.
The woo is huge. The woo is massive. But he said something that made a lot of sense, and it kind of ties into you guys, because that's what happened with me as well. When I started the show, all of a sudden a whole different set of experiences started. And he said, Dave, he goes, you're literally broadcasting a signal out to the universe about these topics. He goes, why wouldn't the aliens pick it up and see what you're doing?
Yeah, that's what we've heard too, man. Like if you project it and you put it out there, I mean, they might become interested in you.
Yeah.
And
I think what's the creepiest part is that it came in the form of a physical thing for our videographer director. And then it became a telepathy thing, kind of dreamlike state for me, which was, I've never experienced anything like that. Like I'm not into anything like that. And it happened to me. It was very weird. I will go on record saying that it's probably a dream, but it was very weird. But then then back to a physical thing with Joe. It's almost like it catered to what would be most effective to the person.
Right.
That's
Right.
kind of how what I came out of it with.
Yeah.
So how
definitely.
did it change your entire perspective of the phenomena?
Dude, I already I already believe, even though I never had an experience. I feel like maybe whatever it was saying, okay, you've never had an experience before. You believe, uh, here you go. It almost felt like a gift. It almost felt like a wrapped up gift that was just here, here you go. And it's not something that you're gonna get all the time. It's not something that's just gonna happen whenever you want it to. It was almost like just this little gift. It felt like a gift almost.
How about for you, Ben? Because that's pretty romantic.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little
His pants are tight right now.
heated over here, dude. I got Elmer's glue pants on right now, bro. It affected me, Dave, in a way that I did not expect. I've never been into like spirituality and like vibrations and positivity and stuff. I just, I'm a little agnostic. I'm not very religious, but dude, after that happened, I started thinking about like, man, there's something to this whole manifesting and vibrations and your thoughts become your reality. And I just went into this kind of this wormhole that I really loved. And when I say loved, it's like I'm kind of phasing out of that because it was something that was so interesting and so compelling. And I feel like I got to a point where, man, I was so dang happy for like a month and a half straight. And now I'm kind of just so used to seeing it. Man, I almost feel guilty kind of taking it for granted. It was almost like a humbling experience. I feel like maybe I need another humbling experience to be like, all right, dude, you're just taking this stuff for granted. But yeah, it changed my perspective on like the spirituality aspect of this whole thing, of this phenomena.
For sure. Yeah. And I mean, I see a lot of people saying that we've been probed, and that might explain my hemorrhoids, honestly.
Yeah, dude.
So
it might explain my butt got so big, dude. My butt got huge.
I've been taking like really easy poops lately, so
yeah,
that's probably true. Like
Yeah.
whatever, dude.
Yeah, my poops are green though.
You got alien poops going on right now. But you bring up a really cool point about how it's changed your entire spiritual aspect of that type of contact. I mean, being agnostic, somebody who's just like, going with the flow, not really having a religious portrayal of everything, to add in the spirituality of these events that have happened. Do you think there is some sort of connectivity between your consciousness and these sightings and these experiences that are starting to increase?
Dude, personally, I'm not here to like spout any kind of message or like, hey, go read this book or anything. I'm just saying, this is me personally answering your question, Dave. Like, yes, absolutely. I think that there is something to it because there has been times where I would wake up in around 3:35, closer to 4, and I would really feel this negative energy. And this was after that instance. And what I did was just think like, man, hey, God, get me, dude. Like, hey, push this negative stuff. I'm feeling really, really negative. Please help me out. But the name that I said was God. So I don't know if that makes me a specific type of religion. It's just the word that I chose.
I thought you switched to Spaghetti Monster.
Dude, that's what I said. I said Chef Boyardee, dude.
You're like, hey, chef,
Help me. But
help me, dude.
But like, yeah, it actually worked because this negative vibe just totally left as soon as I put that intent towards it, which is now it's beyond my understanding, man. It's kind of cool that I don't know if people really pay attention to like their feelings and how that, man, some of them feel so uncontrollable. But in this moment, when I said, "Hey, God, help me out," He helped me out. So that's all I got.
I'm not doing for me, dude.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
Congrats.
Now, which one of you has seen the Marfa lights?
Me. That's me. Yep. My wife and I, who does not fall into any category. She does not believe in. She's open to it, but she doesn't really give it a lot of energy. She's like super stoked that I'm into it, like supportive, but she saw it too, which I'm super excited about. Yeah. But yeah, dude, we saw the Morpho lights. Have you seen them, Dave?
I have not. Outside of video, I have not. For people who may not know what they are, dude, we're right in the middle of a snowstorm here, so there are no lights around here besides snowflakes falling, and they're not liberals either. But nonetheless, the Marfa lights, for people who may not know where they are or know what they are, explain that to them, Ben.
Yeah, so the Marfa lights. Marfa is a town that is 7 hours away from Austin, West Texas. It's pretty good distance out there. It is pretty self-contained. There's not a lot out there, but it's a big artist community. There's a Dairy Queen, which is cool.
There's like 500 people.
He's like 500 people. And there's also this like big open valley that looks upon this mountain. What would you call it? It's a ravine.
Yeah.
And now they have this man-made structure that's kind of a platform that you can look through these telescopic lenses, and you can see it because it's kind of a tourist attraction, these Marfa lights, and it's been going on forever. Like, people have known about this stuff since the Native Americans lived there. It's been all over the place in Texas. But yeah, so apparently before I went there, I knew the legend that you could go and just see these crazy lights that would act really weird and come out of nowhere. Some scientists have, I don't know who, but the scientists have gone out there and tried to like disprove it, and they can't, and they don't know what it is. It could be atmospheric pressure. It could be swamp ass. I don't know. Like, so I go out there and really not expecting much. And man, we were sitting there for 5 minutes. It's me and my wife, and there's another couple. So it's four of us. And we really don't see anything. We take turns looking through these telescopic lenses. We don't see nothing. And like 10 minutes later, we see this blinking kind of slow orb light off in the distance on the opposite side of the mountain, which is probably like a mile away. And let me know if I'm dragging on here, but the next thing we see is this huge beaming light up in the sky off of the mountain to our right. So there's the first light that's all the way at the end that's a mile away. There's no roads. And then there's another beaming light that goes from the skyline all the way up. It goes probably maybe 100 feet and then just kind of dissipates. And then it keeps doing that over and over again until we left. And it was a pretty consistent thing. I really don't know what else I could say other than it was really weird. It almost felt like the moment we were about to give up, that's when we started seeing what we saw. That was the weirdest part.
That is incredible. How about you, Joe? Have you seen them?
I haven't seen the Marfa lights, but I have seen some pretty cool stuff near Marfa. Well, I say near, but everywhere in Texas is like a couple hours away from each other. So, but like same thing, West Texas, looking up in the sky and just see stuff just kind of moving around up there. And you're like, oh, satellite. But, then they flash and then they kind of disappear. It's nothing like, for me personally, it's never been anything like pretty crazy, but I would definitely like to go see the Marfa lights for sure. Dude.
Yeah, I haven't seen them. The closest that I would say is I used to have a great view of Mount Baker in Washington State, the volcano. And Samantha Mowat happened to be over at my house, and my kids were out there, and we're staring at the mountain. And literally, we were watching these little blinky lights from on top of the mountain move along the peak, because there's a couple of different peaks there. And they were moving on the peak, and then they would fade out, and other ones would brighten up. It was the coolest thing. I mean, too bad it was like 40 miles away, but it was still kind of really cool to be able to see that. Gentlemen, I'm going to get you to hold on right there, because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. We have Ben, we have Joe from UFO Garage Podcast, talking UFOs, strange things all night long. You can find them at UFOGaragePodcast.com. They're all over the download sites if you want to download a podcast. We'll be back with more UFO talk right after this. All right. Hey, the Philip Blair, how you doing? Susie Cutesy, good to see you. And big thank you to Murray F., William Kidd, Dolly, and Gary Voorhees for the awesome super chats tonight. Thank you so much for the love. Thank you. Really appreciate that. Oob to Joe's Maine, you've got aliens. You've got aliens, Joe.
I see a lot of probe talk about. All I could think about was the South Park episode, man.
How would you like to be Whitley Strieber in knowing that the first ever South Park episode is about your ass?
Dude, I feel like that.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
I feel like he might have been bummed at first. And then maybe as time went on, it was kind of cool. Because I think they sneak in that depiction of the alien on the cover almost in every episode. I think that's like an Easter egg. Where they try to sneak in.
Yeah. You know, and Whitley is so... I've never talked to the guy, but in every interview, he's just so stiff. He's like a 2x4, you know? Like, he doesn't bend, and, you know, that's not very... How would you like it if a cartoon made fun of your alien anal probing? You know?
Oh, no!
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra.
Sandra, what's up, girl?
Sandra always makes me say her name 3 times.
Sandra.
Hi, Sandra. Hey, Miss Pickles, you're looking very sweet tonight. By the way, we want to remind people, because there's a lot of questions being asked, you can get your free piece of coaxial cable autographed by Cable Guy Matt. You cannot buy these in stores, people. How do you get them? You go to facebook.com/the SOR Vault and you pick up yourself a Spaced Out Radio t-shirt. When you make that order, I'm going to send you a great piece of autographed coaxial cable, courtesy of Cable Guy Matt. And believe it or not, this thing is actually a good little fidget item because you get to twist it on the ends. That's why I actually have one. Believe it or not, when you can't see my hands, I'm actually twisting the cable ends. True coaxial cable, man. Cable Guy Matt. Literally. Okay, remember I said it was snowing for 9 hours?
Yeah, dude.
I lied. It started snowing like in the middle of the night last night, and it hasn't stopped. So we're probably at about 17 hours of snow. We have another 7 inches to fall.
Holy cow,
So
man.
by the time this is over, we'll have like a full foot and a half.
Man. When we had Samantha on the show a couple weeks ago, dude, it snowed 5 inches in my hometown. It literally snowed from like 8 in the morning to like 6 in the afternoon.
How'd you measure?
Which isn't you know, like that impressive. Somebody from Canada, but dude, in my hometown, 5 inches, like, dude. Everybody was like, go home and play in the snow. Like, everything just shut down.
How'd you know that exact measurement, dude?
Oh, because I measured it. I'm a landscaper, so I have all kinds of little measuring devices.
Answer the question.
All right, dude. So I used my wiener,
Hey, wait.
and there was 3 inches above the snow, so I figured it had to have been at least 5. From like, you know, like the what is that, the fupa area,
Yeah,
from the fupa area.
the doofa.
The doofa.
I just realized I just yelled really loud.
Well, we're on YouTube chat time right now.
Yeah,
you can say whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
I used to play in the snow in a DeLorean. You're just melting snow because everybody knows that the DeLorean makes fire when they time travel.
I got to tell you what happened today. So I get to my daytime job, right? And I got breakfast. I've got a coffee and my bag of breakfast in my left hand. Get out of the vehicle. Got my Tim Hortons ice cap in my right hand. Step out of my truck. All right. Slip on this. There's snow on the ground. Slip on the ice underneath the snow. These flimsy cups that they give us, I squeeze it while I'm falling, shoots ice cap all over the interior of my truck. My dashboard, my steering wheel, everything. What a gosh damn mess that I had to clean up.
Dude.
Uh-huh.
I couldn't imagine having to deal with snow that whole time.
Oh.
It was funny because like we don't have snow, and so it's very odd when we do get it. And my wife was like, "If we turn on the fireplace, will it melt the snow? But like before it
Really?
lands around our house?"
Really? Oh my!
Like, I don't know.
Bring her to
Maybe.
Canada. Bring her to Canada. Hold on, guys. Here we go. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you taking the time. Want to remind you that if you have missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of research for you. If you go check out Bumblefoot, you can rock out to Bumblefoot and get your horns up for him. You can read up on Shirky Poo's Newswire and so much more. Hey, follow us on Twitter, will you? At Spaced Out Radio, and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Tonight, we continue on with the guys from UFO Garage. Oh my goodness, I lost my throat there for a second.
Sexy, dude.
From UFO Garage. We got Joe, we got Ben. Gentlemen, we're talking UFOs all night long. I got to ask you, and we're going to get into the UFO subject. Let's get a little serious here, just about that much, okay?
Okay, we can try that, yeah.
All right. So, Luis Elizondo, we have him booked for February 23rd.
Cool.
Hell yeah.
And I'm looking forward to it. But this is a gentleman who I think is the real deal. But under his To the Stars Academy days, he never did an interview outside of what was allowed by the TTSA. And now, over the last month and a half, he's going on Everybody and Their Dog's podcast. Doesn't matter if they have 12 listeners or 100,000 listeners, he's going on. Do you think that's good that he is doing that, or do you think that it's bad that the message now is being, lack of a better word, cheapened?
That's a good question, man.
I'm so torn with this question. I feel like the dude is pretty genuine. I get the genuine feeling from him. But I don't know. I think if you have anybody who's ever been involved in the military or the government, like if you're just like if you're into the topic, you're just naturally a little suspect of it. I mean, am I wrong in that, Ben? You know, I feel like you're just naturally a little suspect about it. So it's like, okay, are you maybe spreading disinformation? And now like that's why it's like time to go full tilt 100% on everybody's podcast, so that way we can get like one of the biggest names right now to just say all this stuff. Is he still trying to is he maybe doing this to help control the narrative for the way that they want it to go? Or is he really breaking free and saying, look, I want to tell my experiences and I want to get to the bottom of it? So, to be honest, dude, I'm a little torn. That's just the way I feel about it.
So am I. Am I. I'm a little torn about it because, you know, it's human nature to put people on a pedestal.
Right.
Okay, and I think Lou Elizondo, and there will be people who agree with me, people who disagree with me, but I think Lou Elizondo is on the top of the heap. He's the number one guy in ufology, and the fact that he is reaching out to smaller podcasts and bigger podcasts and radio shows and UFO YouTube channels and going on there with them, I think it's fantastic. I do believe it does the community a lot of good. However, sometimes the message can be spread too thin. And that is my concern that we are having. Now, I know a lot of people will say, Dave, are you ever satisfied? Dave, will you ever shut your mouth and just be happy that he's coming on Spaced Out Radio? Because we were never able to land a TTSA guy, because heaven forbid if we wanted to ask some serious questions, they didn't allow that outside of a certain few. But now, with all the podcasts that I've heard him on, I can listen to one and get the same show from about 10 others. And I feel bad about that, because I want to give it the attention. We have to make it different when he comes on this show. But he's going to have to answer some questions.
Well, Lou, if you're listening, come on the UFO Garage, man. We'll figure out what kind of truck you drive. We'll find out what kind of food you like to eat, man. Are you a donut guy? Are you a pizza guy?
All the hard-hitting questions.
We'll figure out the hard-hitting questions for sure. And then we'll also ask you a little bit about aliens.
Dude, so, I mean, yeah, Dave, how do you even prepare for this? I mean, seeing that, okay, I mean, the interviews that okay, are we on Louise or is it Lou? Is it Lou?
Just go with Lou.
We'll say Lou.
Lou Elizondo. Man, I get a good vibe from him, and I can't explain why. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I feel like he is trying to like get some information out there. It always kind of irks me when somebody says, "Oh, we've reached a point. I can't talk any further about that." And I understand people that are in the community that have worked for the government have clearances, and you literally can't talk about it. But it feels like he doesn't express any interest in, oh man, I wish I could talk about it. It's almost like, ooh, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
There's a reason why. And I don't know. I think that his intentions are good. And I feel like just the vibe that I get from him, he really wants to get the truth out there. That's where I'm at. But the point where he's getting to like, oh, I can't speak any further about this subject or that. It's almost like you can feel that tension. And I'm just saying, like, pay attention to that. That's what I'm paying attention to. Like the moments where he's showing that, that thing I can't talk about.
Yeah, and that's kind of the bummer too, because that's all we care about. The stuff you can't talk about is what I want to know.
Yeah.
All of the other stuff, all the speculation, everything that you've seen, like, yeah, that's a story, but we can get that from
I also want to know like what kind of old cars he's worked on and stuff. Like he's our buddy Dan Warren said he's kind of a motorhead and stuff.
I want to know how much product he uses in his goatee.
Yes, dude, that thing is immaculate.
It is tight. It is very tight.
Yeah.
You know,
I think I should be a jazz musician.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, he looks like a bass player, like one of those, one of those bodybuilding bass players that are out there. That's what he looks like. I'm Lou Elizondo. I can bench press 600 pounds and lay down a mean bass as well.
Hell yeah, that's exactly.
Yes, man.
I love that.
I don't, like I said, man, I'm a little torn about it. I'd say just like everything else, like let him do what he's gonna do.
I'm glad he's breaking away from TTSA.
Well, I mean, I'm glad too, but like, what are we breaking away from? Like, what are you doing now? Like, are you breaking away because it's like, I'm tired of the secrecy, or are you breaking away because you're like, oh, damn, I got some secrets that I want to kind of keep in this area. I don't want them to get out, right? Because the whole thing with TTSA was they're making all these promises of like, oh yeah, we're gonna start, releasing more footage, and we're gonna start telling more stories, and we're gonna get the truth out there, and this and that. So it's like, okay, did that not happen, and that's why you left, and you want to start your own thing, or is that happening, and you want to break off so that way you can kind of make sure and keep this compartmentalized? I don't know, man.
Well, that brings up a good question. Do you guys feel that we are going more towards confirmation rather than disclosure?
Ooh.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think confirmation is like, I mean, I think it's kind of, me personally, I feel like it's been confirmed.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah, there's something. You wanted to know that there's something there? There's something there.
Yeah.
Now that the whole thing is like, okay, now that I've told you that there's something there, we're back at square one on like, but we don't know what it is.
Yeah. I think the confirmation, I mean, for me, shout out to Gary Voorhees, dude. He was there. He was on the Nimitz, man. He was the air fire controlman, dude. Like, shout out to. We talked to a person that was there for the Tic Tac thing, and he has no agenda. He's just a regular guy with a. I mean,
and he likes permaculture. Hell yeah.
Man. And going from that, and then there's this other dude. Okay, let's say he was. I mean, yeah, Lou Elizondo was in charge of this huge thing. There's a difference for me, personality wise, that I'm picking up on, and I'm not saying that I'm not picking up on anything anyone else is, but I don't know. I feel like maybe there's an agenda there, maybe there isn't, but I feel like anybody that maybe has or is connected to TTSA will always have some kind of agenda.
Yeah. I think it's a bummer for Lou, but I think he it's one of those things where like if you want to talk like cool talk, but like whenever you're done with like when you get read out of your classifications and you can finally like be a regular human, come back and talk to us. You know? I don't know. That's the way I feel.
Just how do you feel? Is that from the heart?
That's from the heart, dude. Hey, you know what? When you don't have to keep secrets, come back and talk to me, dude.
I don't think he'll be done not being able to.
Because I mean, it's like, what are you gonna say? He's like, yes, we have this footage from the Pentagon. It's like, yeah, I know. It's like, oh, we've seen things in airspace, and it's like, yeah, we know that. And he's like, well, it's a national security threat, and we're like, I know that. Like what? Like what? I want to know what the secret is. I know all the stuff that you're gonna tell me. What's the secret? Oh well, I can't speak on that. Okay, we'll come back whenever you can. Like, I mean, I know.
Well, okay, so let's put it this way: do you think that there is a UFO narrative being controlled here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Joe.
I think. Well, I mean. When you look at things like because I know like the Free organization, right? They had direct contact with some of these people, and the evidence is contradictory. They're saying it could be a threat. You know, these are bugs that need to be squashed. It's a national security issue. It sounds like a really convenient way to pump up the U.S. military budget.
Budget.
Fund that military industrial complex, right? And then on the other hand, you have these organizations like Free that are saying like, well, our evidence doesn't point to, much hostility. Like, I think I couldn't even tell you, to be honest with you, but what, like, it was like 7 cases where there's like some weird stuff that happened. It seemed like kind of hostile, but I mean, for the most part,
they disarmed some nuclear bombs, which
is that's a threat. Or is it a threat? Is it a threat if they only dismantle one country's bombs? You know what I'm saying? Or is it cool that they dismantled everybody's bombs? It's only a threat if it's to your country. But if they're not focusing on just your country, which they're not, then okay, what's the threat? They just dismantled the world's nuclear arson? Okay, cool.
Yeah, they took away matches from babies.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Go for it.
I think we're in a role of confirmation. That's my opinion on it. And I've said this before on the show, that confirmation is easy. People can accept that there's UFOs because they'll say, well, there's UFOs out there. But if you notice over the years, especially the last 3, they have really done a good job in segregating UFOs from aliens. We're not allowed to talk aliens anymore. So confirming that UFOs are real, that's easy. People don't ask questions. But when it comes to aliens, we want to know about Roswell. We want to know about Area 51, crash retrievals, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yep.
Oh my God. That's such a good point.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, is that like we're gonna get more UFO stuff, and like, yeah, that's cool. Totally.
But they are separating it from entities.
But really, what we all want to know are the aliens out there. That's the
somewhere
big question.
watching
That's the big
me
question.
as
Yeah.
Bumblefoot sings.
Yeah, man.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, but that's a good point, though. Do you think society as it is today could handle ET contact? I mean, don't forget that with the coronavirus, people went out and went haywire over toilet paper.
Right.
Okay? What happens when we find out and it is 100% confirmed that A, we are not alone in the universe, and B, aliens have been here and are currently here?
Well, I would say that with the coronavirus, they made it seem like there's this big new threat and we all have to be on board. And a lot of people, myself included, didn't figure out that. Well, the reason it's called COVID-19 is because there's a whole lot of other strains of corona out there, and it's like, oh yeah, well I guess that makes sense. But if you were to say, hey, yeah, there is other life out there, and it's been here for a long time. I think that's the difference. Is coronavirus was like new, it's impacting now, and we have to figure out what's happening. This ET contact, it's like, okay, yeah, it's happening, it's confirmed. Also, it's been happening for a long time. So I think the balance between like, oh god, brand new, got to figure it out, and like, yes, it's here, but it's been happening for a long time. That for me would put me at ease. It's like, oh, okay, so this has been happening for thousands of years and nothing's happened yet. Cool, that's just nice to know that there's something else out there. Aliens to me are more relatable than coronavirus.
Why? How come we're not, Joseph Penna, dude? I believe as well that we're aliens as well. I don't think
Well,
humans are from Earth either.
Right.
I
Well,
think there's a reason why we keep coming up with these DNA results from Sasquatch. Like, oh yeah, it's mostly human, or like the Atacama mummy. Like, oh, this is
Right.
mostly human. Yeah, because like most aliens share the same DNA, most of it. Like we're all, like most of it is like we're all aliens, man. Yeah, that's kind of like, are we 100% sure that we evolved from here? I don't, if I know that there's a lot of religious stuff attached to that, and I don't mean to offend anybody, but I think the idea, we can entertain that idea.
The book by Arthur C. Clarke, Childhood's End, is pretty interesting. It's about a story of these craft that show up and they just hover over the major cities for like 100 years, and then people become acclimated to it. Like, I don't know if that's gonna happen or whatnot, but I mean, I think it's a cool metaphor on like, look, we've been going through this UFO alien stuff for a long time now. I think it's been around long enough that it's kind of settled with people, that people are kind of anxious to just know.
Yeah. What do you think would happen, Dave?
Honestly, as we got about 5.5 minutes, I think it could collapse the economy.
Probably.
I think that there is going to be an insane amount of suicides right off the bat and lawlessness because people aren't going to know how to react. The religious community around the world, see, in North America, we tend, as we become more spiritual and walk away from religion, we still have to remember there's over 4 million or 4 billion people on this planet that subscribe to a major religion.
Yeah.
And that calls aliens evil, demonic, fallen angels. Be prepared to fight for our holy God.
Yeah.
We are in for a world of hurt if this is not done properly. And this is why I think there is a major control in the narrative right now of separating aliens and UFOs. Because if we don't separate them and we say, hey guys, we do have aliens here, there's a lot that goes on. Never mind the fact that if it ever came out that the government, let's take the United States government for a second, was experimenting or trading humans for UFO, for alien technology, that could collapse the government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine being somebody who's, you find out that your child who's been missing since the age of 6 was taken on a UFO. There's record of it somewhere.
Yep.
Okay. There's record of it somewhere. Was taken on a UFO to some planet in Orion's belt, never to be seen again. All because of some sort of agreement.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
people laugh, but this is completely possible. We don't know.
Absolutely.
We don't know the dark side of this. They
Yep.
won't even release what's happened at Roswell. Could you imagine how people in Roswell and the United States will freak out when or if the truth about Roswell actually came forward?
Yeah,
Right.
I don't believe in full disclosure for that simple fact. Like full disclosure means okay, now we got to start talking about
Cornflakes.
my labs and MK Ultra and all this other weird stuff that they've been doing to people. But also at the same time, Dave, I mean, is it weird that governments do really messed up things to their own people? It's not really that out of the ordinary. At the same time, when we take the religious faction of it, it's like, okay, they all thought that the earth was the center of the universe. Well, then they figured out earth isn't the center of the universe. They got over it. And then they thought, well, the earth is 600 years old. And they figured out, oh, that's not right. And they got over it. It's like there with the religious community, there's just been so much stuff that has happened that they've all gotten over. And then at the end of the day, still, it'll be like, okay, well, why would that hinder their belief in a God? Because God created that alien in the first place.
But
So
a
I
lot
don't
of
think it
people,
would shake it.
but a lot of people, and my daytime job, I work for somebody who's very religious, and but he's open enough to have this conversation with me because he likes what I do for him, and so he doesn't mind me being a weirdo. And there are a lot of people in his church who he has tried to have that conversation with because he does believe that, God has created other life forms. We can't be the only one in an infinite universe. But there's many other sects and people in his church and other churches who do believe everything's a fallen angel. This is what Revelation has been bringing upon or has been talked about for over 2,000 years or almost 2,000 years with the Holy Bible.
Yeah.
So that is the fear that a lot of people have in this subject. Because if you knew that the rapture was coming, how would you react?
I think the rapture is with the way that information moves now. I feel like it's a ploy by man to make these holy scriptures come true. I don't think. I mean, if you think about a world where none of that existed, would the rapture come true? I think it's a ploy by man. If we're going to talk about religiousness in God's word, sure, yeah, the Bible was written by men. It's an interpretation of something that we can't explain. And I personally don't believe in our own like.
You don't believe in Fregus and murder?
I mean, dude, I'm just saying, like, I don't think that we don't understand enough to be able to interpret something so just amazing,
Yeah, it'd be pretty tough to be like, hey, I had this like imagine. All right, I hate to bring this
save that, okay, because we are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. So I want to save that for when we get back from our break because this is a pretty heavy conversation, man. It's a pretty heavy conversation that every now and again we got to get into it because there's a lot more happening out there than what we know. And what we know is very limited. We have Joe, we have Ben from UFO Garage. We got him for another 30 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio before we get to the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Dave. Stay tuned. Hour 3 of the big show happens next. All right, guys, you can chat with the crowd. I'm just going to run my dogs out, okay?
Sweet. Sweet.
Dude, my brother, Matt, it was like, he told me a couple years ago, like, hey, I remember like the first time I really kind of started having fun with you, like as an older brother. It was when I learned how to say the Cartman sweet. I was like in like 6th grade. He was like, that's when I knew like I had a kind of cool younger brother. Sweet.
Sweet.
Scott, what's your favorite South Park episode? Wait, what are you?
Dude. Probably where Timmy and Jimmy joined the Crips, dude. That's,
we're
that's one
talking
of my
about that.
favorite ones.
I think my favorite one is Scott Tenorman.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Like, that's the most great.
And then I love that season where like where Randy like was just kind of the focus.
Yeah.
You know, there was a couple seasons where they just really focused on him a lot.
Well, that's because
it was so funny.
Dude, it was so good. I am Lord. No. That was like because of okay, so first off, the reason why this is topical is because, dude, my first introduction to like mainstream alien stuff was South Park.
Oh yeah,
that episode of South Park, man, when Cartman gets that probe and shit. I thought it was so funny. And then they kept it going. Like every episode, if you look, it has at least one. Me and Dave were talking about it. I think you went to the restroom, but like one, like the depiction is that Whitley Strieber, kind of look to it. But like, did you ever play that video game?
Yes.
Yeah, that in the video game too, like with the turkeys.
Nintendo
and the
64, dude.
Dude, when you peed on the snowballs. And shit.
Oh, dude.
Shit. But yeah, that when South Park started like going into like Randy's kind of the focus was because of the viewers were our age, so like we're becoming dads and like
that makes sense.
It started to be more funny to us. Like I think my favorite calling back to that when that was starting to happen was the Bat Dad episode.
Oh yeah,
where, like, his kids are like playing mini or what is not mini baseball, but like
T-ball.
Whatever, but he's those are America. This is America.
This is America, right? He just fights everybody.
His pants are down by his ankles the whole time.
Oh man,
so awesome. But yeah, man, like it's funny how those the cartoons and in culture, like aliens have been around in culture for my entire life.
Oh yeah.
And what you see first just definitely defines how you feel about it later.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Cuz like what did you say, like one of your earliest memories of an ET was
Fire in the Sky.
Fire in the Sky.
Yeah.
Which is fucking terrifying.
My parents were watching it in the room and I would sneak out. My mom would be like, "It's kind of a scary movie. You should go back in your room." And so I would always like sneak out and poke my head. And dude, like when I saw like the faces and stuff, and like I was like looking around the corner, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is so scary."
The face looks like a ball sack.
Yeah, man.
Hey, now that we have Dave's viewership cornered, hey, you guys, check us out on UFOGaragePodcast.com. Check us out. We've got t-shirts and stuff. We've also got a YouTube channel, UFO Garage Podcast. Check us out.
You too can become an official doctor scientist.
A doctor scientist. We're not doctors and we're not scientists, but we are.
We are doctor scientists at the same time.
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I love it.
Gary Voorhees is a doctor scientist.
Gary Voorhees, he was. I think he's one of the original, other than William.
Yeah, William Kidd's an official doctor scientist as well.
Yeah, he's actually a scientist in real life.
Yep, Joseph's a doctor scientist.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Gary. Awesome. Yeah, we were talking to Ryan. Ryan Bledsoe. We were like, dude, come on our show. Also, thank you, Dave, for the introduction to Ryan Bledsoe.
Yeah, no worries, man.
Yeah, seriously. We he started listening to one of our episodes about his dad, and we're like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, because like that episode, we're just giggling and we're so dumb. And yeah, I was like, please don't hate us after you listen to that episode. But
So
he doesn't hate us yet. But we sent him a Dr. Scientist shirt.
yeah,
So
man.
he's stoked.
The most important part to that whole story, the Chris Bledsoe story, was what kind of truck was he driving? And we got it confirmed at the conference. So everybody be at ease. We know what kind of truck he drove. It was a red Ford.
Beauty.
No APR.
Investigation, bro.
Yeah.
Some people got to hit the pavement and do the hard work out here, you know? Some people do. Nobody would ever ask Chris what kind of truck he was driving.
Not me, dude.
And 0 down, 0 APR.
Just come pick it up.
No door Ford.
Just come. Just there's no wheels on it. Just
Come on down here now.
All right, guys. I want to say a big thank you to Murray, to William, to Dolly, and to Gary for these amazing super chats tonight. Thank you to everybody who's given a thumbs up and a thumbs down. Everybody new who's hit that subscribe button. We appreciate it. And we're going to continue on with the show here as we got Ben and Joe for another half hour here. Here we go.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate it. Want to say a big hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free for you by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Obnubilate. Obnubilate is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on tonight with the good guys from UFO Garage podcast. We got Joe, we got Ben. We're talking UFOs all night long here as we got them till the bottom of the hour. Gentlemen, welcome back.
Hey, bud.
What's up,
Hey,
man?
bud. You're looking gorgeous, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. I do appreciate that. I do appreciate that.
When we met you, you had locks that were so long, and you got a haircut, and you only got more handsome, and it pissed me off, man.
Well, you know, I did actually donate my hair.
Oh, really?
I did donate it to one of our listeners who was going through cancer treatment.
Wow.
So that's why I'm growing it
That's
again.
awesome.
Growing it again, and that's kind of what I do. That's
Heck
kind of
yeah.
what I do. I'm growing it again.
Look at Dave, just a good guy.
I love that, dude.
I love that.
it. I always said that whenever I decide to cut mine, that I'm gonna definitely donate it too. My wife was like, "That's full of split ends. Nobody's gonna want your hair." But I think that's a great idea, dude. That's so awesome that you did that, man.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
man.
you.
We've it's been a long year since we hung out.
It
That's,
has. It's been a year coming up this month, but I want to ask you guys, in regards to the UFO community, the way there seems to be a great divide between the science and what the government knows comparatively to the experiencer. Do you guys think that there is a bridge that can be built between the two communities?
I think so, man. But I think it has to do with the experiencer and whoever's collecting the data. And the important part is that the person who's collecting the data or doing the interviews isn't abusing the person that they're getting the information from.
Yeah, or it has some kind of direction or motive behind it. I mean, if we're talking about like documentaries, it's always a side, or occasionally you'll get like a documentary that kind of leaves it out in the open, but there's usually like a specific way that the documentarian wants you to believe at the end of it. So I feel like there's got to be some kind of an agreement when you look at the facts. I mean, let's take Missing 411 as an example. I don't know, Dave, have you talked about this at all, like the Missing 411
Oh,
documentaries?
we've talked about it quite a bit. There's some weird stuff going on there for sure. What do you think's happening?
I feel like that's a really good marriage of somebody taking the information that I've never talked to the guy that puts the documentaries together, but I have to believe that he thinks there's something more going on. But he also doesn't shove that down your throat, which I really respect. Yeah, do I think something's going on? Heck yeah. I think it's really, really strange that there's no database that is connected. And let's just take the North America, United States national parks, that there's no database that says, hey, this is how many people went missing just this year. Like, you can't look that up, or else you pay a lot of money for it.
I mean, it exists, right? But it's like $1.5 million.
Yeah.
Like, so basically, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
For the regular person,
Yeah.
at least.
Okay, but you have a lot of people out there who claim that they've got downloads. They have, points of contact that happen very frequently. They see different craft. They see shadows in their house. They know when they're going to be taken. They've seen the grays numerous times. They maybe have had their body operated on, whether it's for the good or for the bad. They claim to be implanted. There's a lot of woo out there when it comes to the experiencers that a lot of the UFO researchers today do not want to get into, because they want the governments to come out and tell us what they know. They want the secrets out of the government. Some of those experiencers, I do believe, have a lot of the answers. They're just not allowed to bring it out. So is it possible, Ben, to try and bring those experiencers to the forefront up with the people who are challenging the government for answers?
Yes, I think it's definitely possible. I think it's the medium in which you do it. I think it's individuals like yourself, Dave, and possibly anyone else out there that's interested in this subject that can bring it to light in a understandable fashion. Because, I mean, just imagine if this stuff happened to you and you were like put on the spot to tell your story. Some of it's gonna sound crazy. I'm the terrible storyteller, and nothing super crazy has happened to me. I know I told a story earlier tonight, and I probably butchered it and sounded like an insane person. I'm terrible at telling stories, but I think it comes down to who's telling the story and how credible it seems. I think that a lot of the culture right now is really focusing on, well, if an individual is not connected to the military or something official, then it's all bullshit. I think that is changing. I think that's changing. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Joe. I'm sorry, Dave. Dang
Don't
it.
apologize to me, dude.
Dave, I'm sorry I said it. Make a note. I don't want to get back going here.
But the idea is that, much like we've seen UFOs separated from aliens, we've also seen the community separated from science to the experience. The science part doesn't want anything to do with the woo.
Yeah, but isn't investigating the woo is science, in my opinion. I mean, if you didn't have the woo, what are you going to investigate?
Yeah.
You already know it. Then there's no point for science. Like, some wooey stuff you hear, well, I think I should investigate that. It's that to me is science. I mean, yeah, this is insane. Like, this whole topic is insane.
Yeah.
It is woo.
If
Like, the
there weren't-
whole thing is woo. There's like, you got people talking about all these different races out there. You got these orbs that can travel interdimensionally. You got, stuff that could just materialize in your room. And it's being taken seriously. And now you even start seeing military and governments that are like, oh, we want to figure this out. And it's like, Well, okay. I mean, how far do you go before it's too woo? That's kind of like my whole thing
Too
is
woo.
like, what is if we can establish that there's something that can travel 9,000 miles an hour and then make right hand turns, that's pretty wooey to me. How woo is too woo? And I think you can find out how woo is too woo by running these experiences. I mean, running these experiments, doing science on it. Just because it's woo doesn't mean that you shouldn't do science on it. Do the science.
Yeah, but you bring up a good point, though, about the science, because, like you said, the technology has to be there somehow. If they are able to go through and do these craft, whatever they are, whether they have little aliens on board or not is irrelevant, but to be able to take an aircraft flying at 9, 10, 11,000 miles per hour to all of a sudden veer off and make a 90-degree turn, or climb vertically at 90 degrees to get the hell out of Dodge. I mean, that is happening. This is some of the things that people are seeing. So, I mean, that goes against everything we know in current physics.
Yeah.
So, I
I
mean,
would-
the science of the woo is actually very important.
I agree 100%, man. I mean, you investigate that woo until you're wooed out. I think that is the purpose.
Yeah.
You know? Like we were talking about a little bit earlier. The earth is the center of the universe.
Wait,
No, it's
what?
not. Wait, that's a little wooey. And then you figured it out. It's all woo. Dude, the fact that we're even here hurling through space on this planet is wooey to me. Current science is wooey to me. The fact that I can like talk to you over this screen is wooey to me, right? But somebody was like, "Hey, if you would have told somebody, 60 years ago that we'd be doing what we're doing right now, they'd be like, "You're nuts. You're nuts. You mean to tell me you can have something in your pocket that can send messages, call, you can draw pictures, you can send nudie pics. Like, are you kidding me? That would have been totally woo back then. We just, I mean, what's the phrase? Like, magic is just science we don't understand yet.
I
So
think that was coined
if
by Wu Manchu.
Wu Manchu, man. So, dude, I mean, I don't know, man. As a scientist, I would be thirsty for the woo
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah, you would think. I mean,
You would think.
one thing that Bob Lazar, his approach to any answer that he gives about, hey, so what was your experience? My favorite answer is I just really was curious about the science. I love that answer so much because I feel like there's so many people out there that are really smart and have done their studies, went to school, and that is why they're interested in what they are interested in, because they want to answer those questions, those woo questions.
Yeah.
They want to go back and say, all right, what was Tesla onto? Nikola Tesla.
Something very woo that has been, for example, we know a man who can emit over 3,000 hertz from his brain, and it's been done under
30,000.
a CT scan. It's been recorded through like audio equipment. If anybody else can emit a frequency at 3,000 hertz from their brain, please contact us and please tell us, because we would love to know about that. First of all, that's woo on the surface, but then you go to Harvard and you stick the guy in a CT scan, and then he lights his brain up while he's pushing 3,000 hertz from his brain. Okay, there's some science. Now we have some science to say, okay, this guy did this. Now we got to keep moving on that science. You know what I'm saying?
There's a lot of science.
That's a lot of science,
Well, we have to go through it, though. We have to go through it and down that path, because in the end, we can't predict when these craft are going to show up. We can't predict where they're coming from, what's with the different shapes. But I think that there is news out there deep inside some very thick cemented walls that has answers of file folders of these craft. Do you think that as we move closer to the disclosure movement or confirmation, whatever you choose to describe it, that we are going to start seeing more of those type of files, or do you think those will remain hidden, Ben?
Ooh. I think any file that is incriminating to the government we're never going to see the light of day. I mean, you touched on this earlier, Dave. Like, yeah, if it comes back like, hey, we did some kind of weird stuff that not a lot of people would approve of, we're probably not going to see it. It's going to be redacted. So we're going to get the breadcrumbs, kind of like the recent CIA dump, which was like 3,000 documents or something like that.
Mostly redacted.
Everybody was super stoked about. I was super stoked about it, and then they released it early, and it's almost like they just gave us the top of the foam on a Keystone Light can. Like, it was all right. There's some cool stuff in there, but
it wasn't the full beer. It was just the foam.
It's the foam.
Nobody
man.
can party on just the foam.
Dang.
But but that's the whole point. Is I think there's a lot of people within the UFO community who actually believe that everything's going to come out. Everything's going to be there for like the soup du jour, that we're going to be able to choose, which flavor of woo that we want to go when it comes to, UFOs and the secrets that are apparently behind them. I don't see that happening. I think that they have been so clandestine on this entire subject for so long that no matter what, whether it's the U.S. government, the Canadian government, the Russians, or whomever, they can't give up all of the secrets. They can't, because that could bring in everything, man, from technology to, like we talked about right before the break, learning where all these 60,000 people annually are disappearing to without a trace.
Yeah.
We don't know. That's
it would be
the scary part.
Pulling the thread of the most loosely woven canvas. Like, it's pretty bad. Like, imagine you trying to make a pair of shorts.
That's
how bad
big pair of shorts, man.
Yeah, one little thing. I feel like if they let out one little thing, I think they know that if they let out one little thing, the whole pair of shorts are coming apart at the crotch.
And then you have a party.
So what do you think, guys, is we only got a few minutes left. What do you think we're missing in the UFO field right now?
I think what we're missing is more respect to the contactees that have experiences. That I think we as a culture need to pay more attention and take it a little bit. I mean, coming from a guy who makes fart jokes and stuff, like, I think we should take it a little bit more seriously, a lot more seriously. These people that have credible eyewitness accounts that are backed up by family members and neighbors, that all they have is that one story, or maybe they have 10 that they don't know about. I think we need to accept that, hey, I respect what you're going through, and I commiserate. I think there needs to be not like I revere you in a way, but man, whoever gets chosen by whatever is choosing those people, it's happening. I think we're past the point where is this happening? It's happening to these people, and I think we need to pay a little bit more attention to those that have credible stories.
Do you think we're too ignorant for it?
Blissfully. I think it's a blissful, because it's a very scary realization. It's a very scary man.
Well, you think about it, and that's a good point, because if you think about it, there are very few subjects in this world that will affect every single life form on this planet. Yeah. God coming down from the heavens above would be one of them. Jesus resurrecting again, part 2, would be one of them. Aliens is definitely one of them.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
I mean, that's the magnitude we are dealing with. So does it ever amaze you, Joe, that so much of the mainstream public is just so ignorant and blows off this subject, knowing the capacity that it could bring to the planet?
It does blow my mind. Yeah, it does blow my mind. Um, it's 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 interesting that even with all the recent stuff that's come out on how quiet everything is, you would think that it would be a huge deal. Everything from the videos to the quote of "We have craft not of this planet," and like, I mean, it's just there's a lot of recent stuff that's gone on that like should have caught people's attention, but it didn't. And man, I don't know if it's like no person left behind or if like we should just move on with everything. It's and you know, we were talking about that earlier. I mean, it's kind of scary to say like, yeah, there could be collapse of an economy, collapse of government, collapse of religions, collapse of all these things. But you know, with every destruction and death, there's a rebirth of something. So it sucks if you have to be um that that person at that time that has to endure the breaking down. But is it for the greater good? Is it better? Is it better to know? Or is it better to just keep your head in the sand? I'm just a curious person by nature, so I always want to know. But I also understand that there's people who just don't care and don't want to know. They got babies, they got families, they got you know
Chia pets.
they got to feed their families, they got work to do, they got stuff to worry about other than like, oh gosh, now I have to worry about something coming out of the sky and
Right.
like taking me and my family. But you know, that's part of the learning experience, man. This whole subject is so there's so much to it. You can't just say, "Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I believe in that." You really have to kind of go and dig through all the stuff. I mean, you know, me like I said, me and Ben have been into it since we were kids. We've recently gotten a little bit more serious about it. And dude, we haven't even scratched the surface of this thing.
Scratch
I
the sniff.
think most of the time, we're all kind of just guessing anyways. Even the people who know the most, I think they're kind of at a loss as well. Maybe they're just guessing too, man. You know, who knows?
Gentlemen, I have to unfortunately say goodnight to you guys because we have flown on by in this show, and I have to say this was a nice, relaxing bit of fun for me. It really was a lot of fun for me getting the chance to talk with you guys. You guys are so real, and you don't take this topic as heavy as many of us do, and I commend you for that, and I appreciate the way you guys are doing it at UFO Garage Podcast. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having us, man. This has been an absolute delight, man.
Dave, you're a beautiful human being, my friend.
So are
Thank
you.
you.
I got to
Thank
return. I got to return the favors because it's been a full year since I was on your show.
Come on the
Yep.
show.
So you
dude.
guys line something up, and I'll come on your show, and we'll light it up there, and that way
Oh my
I can
gosh.
loosen the bolts a little bit, and maybe
Yes.
pull a Ben and swear on the air,
I'm
but
so sorry, dude.
Totally
But-
cool. We don't monetize anything anyway, so YouTube wise, anyways.
But thank you so much, Ben and Joe, for coming on Spaced Out Radio. I love you guys. I think you guys are a bright star in a very dark UFO world, and I'm glad that you guys are a part of what we're doing as well. Coming up next on Spaced Out Radio, we have the SOR Newswire. We have the Thought of the Dave. A lot more coming on up as we look to take this thing home. Remember, UFOGaragePodcast.com is the website. Find them on Twitter. Find them on every major downloadable area, Apple, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, and even a good beard website. You never know where they are. We'll be back with more Spaced Out Radio right after this.
Good stuff.
That
Hell
was
yeah.
fun.
Stuff, man.
That
Yeah.
was fun.
Dude, that flew by so fast.
I-
Holy cow.
I did. Yeah, that was way too fast.
We've literally done 6 hours of radio straight.
That's beautiful.
That was so much. That was so much fun, dude. We gotta get you on the show soon, dude. I have so many questions.
Oh yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. And just let me know. Just let me know. And we'll get her done. We'll get her done. We got to
Hell
do
yeah.
it. We got to
Hell
do it.
yeah, man. Man, yeah. Such awesome questions. I mean, I feel like we got somewhere tonight. It's like it's a lot of deep stuff, but keeping it light, but
A
also
lot of fun, cool stuff, man.
Lot of woo.
A
Lot of woo.
Lot of
I
woo,
love
man.
the woo. I was listening to your show, Dave, the other night. Like people were like so against the woo.
I know. It's
Why?
it's ridiculous. Hi, Rafaela. Hi, Terrible Times. How are you? You know what? How do you bitch about the woo? Honestly, how do you
Yeah.
bitch about the woo? The woo is what makes this entire thing. Art Bell would have never been Art Bell without the woo.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, man.
Yeah.
You know? And people just honestly, there's a lot of people out there that just need to take a fucking chill pill and enjoy what we do. And it's funny because I actually, believe it or not, guys, I take a lot of heat at times because I claim I'm a journalist, which I am. Okay.
Went to school for it.
But the show is about entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of journalism that we do. It's about entertainment. So like when I'm writing an article for our newswire for Captain Shirk, hey Slim, how you doing? Or if I'm writing an article for UAP Research, which usually ends up on our side anyways, it's really about, that's where the journalism comes out. That's where the stories come out. That's where I flip that switch from being the good friend to everybody on that friendly voice on the microphone in the middle of the night to becoming the journalist of, well, let's get the story. Let's work on this. Like I'm working on a story right now. I have no idea how long it's going to take before it comes out.
Yeah.
Right. But I think you guys gave me a good idea for my blog this week. So.
Hell yeah.
I may actually call you back to quote you guys on it.
Cool, man.
Dude.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, I just real quick. I mean that there was one episode I was listening to where I think you were on a round table, Dave, and you're like someone had called you something about like, oh, well, all you guys do is
yeah.
is be
That was
like
a couple months ago.
a couple months ago, and I was like, get him, Dave, tell him, dude. he
Was
never
that the
said
Grant Cameron one where
Yep.
Steve
Yeah.
Bassett and Jimmy Endo was the guy who came at me about journalism? I mean, this,
And yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Dude
that
takes
was
himself way too seriously.
yeah.
It was like so serious.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love your
You know what's fun?
response.
Here's another thing. Did you guys ever read the story I did on the 14 reasons why I never supported TTSA?
I didn't catch that one.
Okay.
I didn't catch that one.
Literally, I had like about 9 or 10 people just try and trash me on social media about that. Not too many. 9 or 10's not many, but it's still enough.
Yeah.
And Melinda Leslie gets a hold of me because she talks to Jim Semivan all the time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Semivan read it. And Semivan apparently told Melinda that I was about 98% correct.
Damn.
Right.
That's
And
what's up.
so all these people now my ego is going through the friggin' roof here
And I
at
bet
this
you
point.
no one would have told you that other than Melinda. 'cause
Yeah.
Melinda comes correct. dude.
Yeah.
Like, and
Melinda
I
tells
love
all.
her, dude.
So
Oh, yeah.
it's funny
For a
because
long time.
all these people who are ripping me, I would just post back, well, Jim Semivan is agreeing with me on this, so should I take your word or one of the heads of TTSA? Anyways, gentlemen, I got to go. I got to get the news
Yeah.
going here.
Awesome, brother.
Much
Yeah, brother.
love to you guys, and
Hey,
we'll
love you,
talk
brother.
soon, okay?
Thank you.
Good stuff.
All
man.
right. Thanks,
Talk to you
bro.
later, bud.
Bye-bye. Love those guys. Love them. They're just so much fun. They are so much fun. Oh, they just make me laugh. All right, here we go. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Really do appreciate it. I want to remind you that if you've missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor and hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Speaking of the news, let's do this thing, shall we? The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes we do it just for posterity. Speaking of which, it dates back 50 million years, but we found this fossilized bug that has decided that while going into its final cryostasis, if we could use that term, it decided to show off its penis. Yes, a rare fossilized assassin bug, causing a bit of a stir in the entomology circles because it is so remarkably well preserved that one little pervert scientist can pick out the penis of the bug. The specimen dates back 50 million years, meaning this particular taxonomic group may be twice as old as scientists previously presumed. Getting a complete fossilized insect is really rare, but getting a fossil of an insect from this long ago that has this much detail is pretty much amazing and exciting, said Gwen Pearson of Purdue University. Yes, she goes on to say that the mouth is distinctly shaped like a straw, better to poke into the body of its prey like a juice box and slurps out the guts. You know, we're also able to see the genitalia of this creature. Looks nothing human, just so you know. And that makes it exciting as well because the genitalia are contained within the shell. Ruth Schuster, who is a professional bug genitalia expert, describes the penis as technically its pygophore of the assassin bug as a chitinous codpiece. Think about that, people. Chitinous codpiece, which is why it is difficult to tell whether a given insect specimen is male or female. In addition to the pygophore and the telltale stripes of its legs, the new fossil also distinctly shows the basal plate, a structure shaped like a stirrup that supports the penis. Boy, they're going in deep tonight. Going in deep. The thing that makes bug penises so interesting is that in many cases they are part of the exoskeleton. The chitinous codpiece. It is not because entomologists are pervy, sure. It's because genitals are the place where we can see evolution happening. That's where the sexual selection is the strongest. And the more we know about how insects do the nasty, it helps us understand how they are living and how they are diversifying now. A California man said he was shocked when the wallet he lost 53 years ago was returned to him after being found in the place where he lost it. Antarctica. San Diego's Paul Grisham said he doesn't remember losing his wallet while serving as a meteorologist in the United States Navy in Antarctica in October 1967, but the wallet found during the demolition of a building at McMurdo Station, the southernmost town on Earth, definitely used to be his. New Hampshire man Stephen Ducato, who formerly worked for an agency that does snowcap research in Antarctica, said his former boss got in touch last month to help him find the owner of 2 wallets found during the demolition. Ducato's daughter, Sarah Lindbergh, reached out to Bruce McKee of the Indiana Spirit of 45 nonprofit foundation. McKee contacted Gary Cox of the Naval Weather Service Association for help finding the owner of the other wallet, and Cox was able to put the sleuths in touch with Grisham, who is a member of the organization. Grisham said the wallet still contained his Navy ID, his driver's license, a tax statement, a recipe for homemade Kahlua, a beer ration punch card, receipts for money orders sent to his wife, and a pocket reference card for what to do in case of different disasters. Indiana's Spirit of 45 posted photos of the second wallet to Facebook and later was able to return it to the family of its owner, Paul Howard, who died in 2016. That's kind of cool. Moving on. A notice from China's education ministry has caused a little bit of a stir after it suggested young Chinese men have become too feminine. The message has been criticized as sexist by many online users, but some say China's male celebrities are partly to blame. For a while, China's government had signaled concern that the country's most popular male role models are no longer strong athletic figures like army heroes. Even President Xi Jinping, a well-known football enthusiast, has long been seeking to cultivate better sports stars. So last week, the Education Ministry issued a notice with a title that left no doubt about its ultimate goal. The proposal to prevent the feminization of male adolescents called on schools to fully reform their offerings on physical education and strengthen their recruitment of teachers. The text advised recruiting retired athletes and people from sporting backgrounds and vigorously developing particular sports like soccer with a view to cultivating students' masculinity. Well, playing soccer is not going to do that. It is a decisive push in the country where the media does not really allow for anything other than squeaky clean, socially responsible stars. But there were some earlier signs suggesting that such a move was coming. Last May, a delegate of China's top advisory body, Si Zefu, said that many of China's young males had become weak, timid, and self-abasing. There was a trend among Chinese males towards feminization, he claimed, which would inevitably endanger the survival and development of the Chinese nation unless it was effectively managed. Because, a man who has feelings can't reproduce, apparently, in China. Yes, I think that's what they're making. So CFU, or Zefu, said the home environment was partly to blame, with most Chinese boys being raised by their mothers or grandmothers. He also noted that the growing appeal of certain male celebrities meant that many children did not want to be army heroes anymore. Oh, the blasphemy in that. So he suggested schools should play a greater role in ensuring young Chinese men get a balanced education. Heaven forbid if those young men can't just be who they want to be. Doctors in New York have successfully performed the world's first successful face and double hand transplant. Joe DeMeo, 22 years old, underwent the 23-hour surgery performed by a team of more than 140 healthcare workers last August. A car crash in 2018 left DeMeo with third-degree burns on over 80% of his body. His fingertips were amputated and he lost his lips and eyelids. He said the operation has given him a second chance at life. He said the operation was hard to go through, but he feels better about himself. Mr. DeMille was on his way home from a night shift when he fell asleep at the wheel. His car crashed, bursting into flames. He spent 4 months in a burn unit, which included time in an induced coma, then had more than 20 reconstructive surgeries, but only regained limited use of his hands and face. In 2019, he was referred to an academic medical center in New York, where he underwent transplant surgery last August. Eduardo Rodriguez, director of the face transplant program, said we wanted to give him not only an operation that made him look better, but it ultimately had to work ideally, especially with the hands. So Mr. DeMille spent 45 days in intensive care after the surgery and a further 2 months in hospital where he had to learn how to open his eyelids and use his new hands. 2 face and 2 double hand transplants had taken place before, but both were unsuccessful. One patient died from complications, and the other had their hands removed after they failed to thrive. Doctors at the hospital waited to make sure that the transplants were not rejected before labeling this a success. As for Mr. Rodriguez, says Mr. DeMille, who does up to 5 hours of rehab a day, is the most highly motivated patient he has ever met. Mr. DeMille says he can now work out by himself and make breakfast, but not breakfast for dinner. You know what? This is why it is so important for all of us, to be organ donors. Look at the second chance at life this young man is having. All because someone who is no longer on this planet, God bless him, decided to donate their body. We all need to do that. We all do. Because you would want it done if it was for you or maybe your children or your grandchildren. Hit that button on your driver's license next time you renew it. Be an organ donor. It's a good thing. You can't take it with you, people. It's much like your bank accounts. You can't take it with you. Help someone else. Give them the gift of life when you are done with yours. The city of Baltimore has voted to end a controversial surveillance program that monitored nearly every block of the city using planes equipped with high-resolution cameras. On Wednesday, the city council officially terminated its contract with Persistent Surveillance Systems, a private company that implemented and ran the pilot program for the Baltimore Police Department on and off since 2016. Under the program, known as AIR, the Baltimore PD flew planes equipped with technology known as Wide Area Persistent Surveillance, which was used to monitor roughly 90% of the city from above for up to 10 hours each day. The program began in secret in 2016 with funding from 2 Texas billionaires, Laura and John Arnold, and was discovered by aviation enthusiasts monitoring publicly accessible flight data. Baltimore's termination of its unconstitutional spy plane program is a hard-fought victory for Baltimoreans, especially for the black leaders who challenged this and the communities of color who were disproportionately targeted by this surveillance, said Brett Max Kaufman, senior attorney for the ALCU. Last November, after a 6-month pilot that coincided with the summer's protest against police violence, the ALCU filed a lawsuit against the BPD to stop the program from being restarted. Moving on. An Illinois woman is in hot water after she allegedly filmed herself pouring boiling water on her boyfriend while he slept. Alexis Sykes, not a nice lady at all, allegedly poured the hot water on the man and also filmed the aftermath because she likes that kind of weird stuff. Prosecutors said she posted the footage on Snapchat and said she kind of felt bad now because he got second and third degree burns from face and waist. And, Sykes, who's just 22, was also accused of hiding the boyfriend's car keys as she watched his skin fall off his arms, according to prosecutors. He managed to get the keys and drive himself to hospital, where he eventually underwent skin graft surgery. Sykes was arrested in Mississippi on January 19th, was then extradited back to Illinois to face charges of aggravated battery by caustic substance and aggravated domestic battery. No motive was disclosed. She's being held on $500,000 bond. Her next court appearance is in March. Just trying to see what happens if I pour water on human skin. Gee whiz, what's the worst thing that can happen? You gotta be kidding me. Biosecurity officials in New Zealand said they caught a woman attempting to smuggle more than 1,000 succulents and endangered cacti into the country. Well, she was sentenced to 100 hours of community service. The Ministry of Primary Industry said Wing King Lee of Auckland was accused of attempting to smuggle cacti and succulents into New Zealand from China on 2 separate occasions. The ministry said Lee returned to Auckland International Airport from China on March of 2019 with 947 plants concealed in pantyhose and strapped her to her body. She fled to a bathroom where she attracted the attention of a police dog and attempted to dispose of the items, which included 8 endangered and threatened species worth an estimated $7,200. The ministry said Lee again returned from China in April of 2019 with 142 seeds hidden inside iPad covers, as well as more than 200 garden ornaments and plant pots, which in turn were carrying at least 1 snail and 1 piece of tree fern stem. Officials said Lee, who deals in cacti and other plants on website TradeMe, put New Zealand's biosecurity at risk by bringing the non-native and potentially invasive plants into the country. Lee was sentenced once again to 100 hours of community service and 12 months of intensive supervision. Finally tonight, a useless burglar managed to get himself swiftly caught after fleeing the scene of a crime. How? Well, this guy's not too bright. You see, he left his phone with selfies and pictures of his passport on it. He also admitted to another burglary during which he left behind a can of beer in the kitchen sink, which obviously had his DNA over it. As criminals go, this man obviously not a mastermind. Wayne Elliott ran from the house he was trying to steal from when confronted by a vulnerable resident. Crown Counsel in Newcastle was told the 43-year-old had escaped through a window of the downstairs flat, but his victim quickly realized that he had stolen nothing and left something very incriminating, the evidence of his wallet. Yeah, prosecutor Amy Levitt had a good time with this one. There was a mobile phone found under the window in the spare bedroom, which did not belong to the complainant. There was also a rucksack under the window as well. Upon examination, the phone contains pictures of the defendant and a picture of his own passport, plus messages addressed to Wayne. His victim, who uses a walking aid due to mobility issues, was shocked and dazed when she discovered that someone had invaded her home. However, this guy was just too stupid to do anything about it. Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. What UFO or ET related story really trips you out? Let's start with Julien. Bonjour, Julien. Comment ça va? I love that one. The Varginha Lights or UFO incident was an incident in Varginha, Brazil in 1996 involving reports of unidentified flying objects and strange creatures, allegedly extraterrestrial, which were supposedly captured by Brazilian officials. Yeah, that one is a good one. I do recall that. John, the Allagash abductions. Just such a fascinating story. And yeah, that's a good one too. Chris, Kathy Connolly, 1951 to the 1970s, Coventry, England. UAV, ET contact, and interaction over several decades. Sweet Annie Svensson, hands down, it's Fire in the Sky, Travis Walton. Drew, my own that I write a book about, face-to-face encounter near Chaco Canyon, dream a week later, seeing experience from the other perspective of ET, taught me multi-dimensionality. Davey, I love the Bledsoe saga. Your interview with Ryan Bledsoe was an absolute top drawer, but the cynic in me worries that we are being manipulated and toyed with by the jinn. Just to be clear, this is in no way to question what Chris and family are experiencing, but I have a wariness about what the visitors do and claim to be. Debbie, my own experiences because I know they are legit/true. Jeremy, Rendlesham, so much happened and we still really don't know what it truly was. Cable Guy Matt, Alex Collier, Andromedan contactee experiences. Carrie Lynn, I liked your story about the aliens in the woods. Who knew you had heart issues and you were going to drag the lady back to the farm? Your story was very good. I don't have heart issues. My heart was just palpitating because there was aliens standing in front of me. Tim, Aztec or Kingman, Arizona crashes in the 50s. The one caused a large forest fire. Aliens hurt, burnt, loaded up in ambulances by other aliens unhurt. Dr. Robert Wood talks of how his books have now boosted microwave radar testing, probably causing both crashes. Kevin gets the final word tonight. Kevin. Boy, we burned through these. Hearing Dave tell about that groovy chick in the tie-dye dress luring him and his dogs into the woods for fun adventures only to find out it was an alien honeypot still makes me tweak to this day. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, my friend. And that is the thought of the Dave today. And we will do it all again next time on Facebook and Twitter. So make sure you play along because we'd love to read your responses on the air. It's kind of what we like to do around here. We love the audience participation. A big thank you to Captain Shirk for the SOR News Wire and to Ben and Joe from UFO Garage podcast. Make sure you check them on out there everywhere on social media and podcast download apps. Once again, I want to say a big thank you to everyone who is supporting David Paulides for the loss of his son Ben due to mental health this past weekend. Remember, it's never a bad time to talk. If you need to talk, there's always someone. Look up the phone number on your phone in your area that if you're feeling dark, you're feeling gloomy, get someone to talk to, okay? Talking helps. Let's all talk. Mental health is an issue. We need to worry about it. We need to be concerned about it. And it's okay to talk about with your family, with your friends, with counselors, even a complete stranger. If you are down in the dumps, you don't know where to turn, find someone to talk to online and open up. There's always good people out there willing to help you. So make sure you remember that. We love you. We love you. And we love you. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone participating in our chat rooms on Spreaker, YouTube, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter, hanging out at hashtag Spaced Out Radio with all the Snarkers and Snarkettes. You were all fantastic tonight.
I know you're out there somewhere.
Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
We're watching.
we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night. But tomorrow, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night. That was fun. That was fun, people. Fun, fun, fun. Fun, fun, fun. Fun, fun, fun. Hey, Super Quest. How you doing, man? Hey, Dave, when you got a moment, check out this Canadian rockers from the early 70s, the songs they play. They were making early in the show. Okay. Hey, Paul Holland, how are you? I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break. I'll be right back, guys. All right, old Davey's back. Still got 70 people. Cool. Give me 2 seconds here. Hiccup. I had tacos for dinner. It was fantastic. Dave Flesh. That's right, Corin's the booking guy. Hi, Jessica. Yes, I am looking into it. Dirt Road Mystic, welcome back. All right, let's start cutting up. I do want to find out about it. I do. Still a little tripped out because I know other people were there. No, Grandma Rose didn't abduct me. She may have been there, though. I'm not going to spread any rumors or anything, though. Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate that, Dave. Thank you. That's really kind. Hi, Theodora. How are you? God damn it. I'm bleeding. I'm bleeding. I'm bleeding. See? I'm bleeding. I had a paper cut earlier. I accidentally just pulled the skin off of it. Gosh darn it. That's going to leave a mark. Hey, Fast Hemi, how you doing, man? What kind of music am I into? Good question. Mainly rock and roll. I really am a Guns N' Roses fan. Probably an addict. Probably call me an addict. That would probably be probably be something that would be very correct. I love jazz. My favorite blues artist is Joanna Connor. She's amazing. Um, let's see. I love house music. I absolutely love house music. I don't know why, but I just do. Oh, that definitely is not it. Let's undo that. Hi, Rafaela. Where is the end of this one? There's the beginning. Okay, there's the beginnings. The end should be somewhere around. Hold on. Let me play this. I think you guys are a bright star in a very UFO Garage Podcast.com is the website. Find them on Twitter. Find them on. Damn it. Give me 2 seconds, guys. Where it is, right there. It is not Coldplay. It is not Anne Murray. What was the third one, Corrence, that you said? Because you are a sicko. It's definitely not Air Supply. All right, 13 minutes in, so this is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That was 7:13. That's 7 minutes. That's 7. 9, 10, 12. Why is it around?
Space on this planet is thirsty for the woo
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah, you would think. I mean,
You would think.
one thing that Bob Lazar, his approach to any answer that he gives about, hey, so what was your experience? My favorite answer is, I just really was curious about the science. I love that answer so much because I feel like there's so many people out there that are really smart and have done their studies, went to school, and that is why they're interested in what they are interested in, because they want to answer those questions, those woo questions.
Yeah.
They want to go back and say, all right, what was Tesla onto? Nikola Tesla.
Something very woo that has been, for example, we know a man who can emit through that. First of all, that's woo science. Now
That is incriminating to the government is we're never going to see the light of day. I mean, you touched on this earlier, Dave. Like, yeah, if it comes back like, hey, we did some kind of weird stuff that not a lot of people would approve of, we're probably not going to see it. It's going to be redacted. So we're going to get the breadcrumbs, kind of like the recent CIA dump, which was like 3,000 documents or something like that.
Mostly redacted.
Everybody was super stoked about. I was super stoked about it, and then they released it early, and it's almost like they just gave us the top of the foam on a Keystone Light can, like. Like, it was all right. There's some cool stuff in there, but
It wasn't the full beer. It was just the foam.
it's the foam.
Nobody
man.
can party on just the foam.
Dang.
But
There,
but that's the whole point. Is yeah, but you bring up a good point though.
I'm sorry. How do I get back going here?
But the idea is
Science, in my opinion. I mean, if you didn't have the woo, what are you going to investigate?
Yeah.
It's insane. Like, this whole topic is being taken. Well, okay. I mean, how far?
Well, if an individual is not connected to the military or something official, then it's all bullshit. I think that a lot of the culture right now is really focusing on, well, if an individual is not connected to the military or something official, then it's all bullshit. I feel then it's all bullshit. I it's all bull. I think that is changing. I think that's changing.
got it. You are down in the dumps. You don't know where to turn. God himself available.
If your friends have
I was never a Fleetwood Mac fan. Can't stand Stevie Nicks. She drives me nuts. There, I said it. I can't stand Stevie Nicks. Eugene is going to kill me for that one, but that's okay. Honestly, I think she's horrible. I mean, how do you have a whiny, deep voice like she does? She did very good, Chris Jarvis. It sounded like a goat on South Park. She did very good. Our Keith Andrews tomorrow night. We're going to turn the woo up. I know there's a few of you excited about that. Well, we passed 10,500. We're at 10,503 right now. That's kind of cool. Actually, very cool. Damn it, Eugene. You did hear that. I thought you had left, and I thought I would sneak that in. My goodness. Thought I would sneak that in. I can't get anything by you. Dave Drake, the woo is anything weird and weirder to the weirdest. They all packaged it into the woo. I didn't understand it at first. But hold on, I got itchy back here. But the woo is anything weird, strange, obscure, sounds too good to be true. That's the woo. There is no insulting Axl Rose in this room, Solaire. Absolutely none of that. Shame on you. Axl is still the greatest rock singer ever, next to Freddie Mercury. Freddie Mercury, number 1. Axl Rose, number 2. He still has it. Beautiful voice. Beautiful voice. I'll be honest with you, though. If we're talking honesty here, I don't like the reunion. I liked it way better when Bumblefoot and DJ Ashba, along with Richard Fortus, had a 3-guitar set. So are you, Fapster, so don't even talk. You don't know what you're talking about. I'll be honest with you, Andrew Fricker. I know you're in the United Kingdom where Zeppelin is God. I never really got into them. I enjoy their music, but I never really got into them. Oh, man, now my shoulder is itchy. I need to bathe in a vino. Oh, God, it's so dry up here. They still put on a fantastic show. I see you skipped the Blueberry Plague. No, I didn't go with Blueberry Plague tonight. I went with something else. Some green habanero stuff. It's fantastic. Solaire, Guns N' Roses is the best band on earth. Is. Rainbow, I never really got into them. Black Sabbath, never got into them. I would say I got into Jimi Hendrix, never got into the Stones. If we're talking 70s rock, never really got into Kiss. I got into rock and roll, literally. I found music through Def Leppard. That's where I found music, when their Pyromania album came out. Fabster, I would totally accept that. And then, let's see. I got into them. I got into Van Halen and Bon Jovi and Iron Maiden. Never really got into Priest. Like Dokken. And who else was I into back then? It was kind of eclectic because, you know, Huey Lewis and the News, their album Sports came out. I really liked that. There were some Canadian groups that came out around 1986, Glass Tiger and Honeymoon Suite, that I liked. I liked Triumph. Never really got into Dio. I mean, if I were to choose now, like my top 10 bands today, it would be Guns N' Roses, Sons of Apollo, Hailstorm, Hell Yeah, Texas Hippie Coalition, Nightwish, 6 a.m. Who else do I like? Five Finger Death Punch. Who are my final two? Avatar. And who would be my final one? Go to my playlist. Who'd be my final band right now? Ghost. Ghost. That would be my top 10 right now. Guar was awesome. Too bad Dave Brocky couldn't kick the heroin. I don't blame you, Dave. I haven't figured out Blothar yet. Odorous was awesome. But I mean, they've changed their lineup so much. Like, how many people have been in Guar? Guar lineup. There have been how many members? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 members of Guar. They've gone through 4 drummers, although their current drummer's been around since 1989. Let's see here. They've gone through 1, 2, 3, 4 bass players. They've gone through 2 rhythm guitarists. That one guy's been there since like 1988. They've gone through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lead guitarists. And now 2 singers. Plus, they had that lady singing for them there for a while too. She was pretty good. I was talking about Deep Purple and Richie Blackmore with a friend of mine who used to be in the music industry. Good night, Jenny. We love you, Jenny. Excuse me. Tomorrow night on the show, once again, R. Keith Andrews, the ET Connection. That one's done. 99. 100. That one's done. Why are you heartbroken, John? Axl Rose is a way better singer than Stevie Nicks. Way better. You can't even be heartbroken by that. Seriously. Oh, you poor thing, bombshell bomber. Hey, John, if you think Stevie Nicks is a better singer than Axl Rose, you need to take your Stetson off and put a bonnet on. I'm going to call you Bonnet John from now on. Disgusted. Fap, you have no sense of sound or smell. Close off that guar window. Have a good night, Dave Drake. Every GNR song is epic, like Paradise City, the greatest song ever recorded. Ever recorded. Right, that's done. Chill Farm, what's going on? Thank you for joining us. Mr. Cowley. Welcome back to the show. All right, everyone, it's that time of the night where I have to say goodbye. I got to work in the morning. It's a nice 6-day week for me this week. And Lord knows the snow keeps falling. So that means I'm going to be having to shovel probably tomorrow for the show. But thank you to Kevin and Murray and William and Dolly and Gary for the amazing super chats tonight. Really do appreciate the love and support. Thank you to everyone who gave us a thumbs up. If there's one more out there so we could hit 100 thumbs up, I'd appreciate that. Nobody wants to sit at 99. How about one person give us a thumbs up? One. There we go. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Much love, each and every one of you. And remember, we do that we own the night thing because we mean it. We love you. Take care.